Muito bem, nós estamos a reconectar-nos com o YouTube agora. Tínhamos perdido a conexão.
Okay. Just a moment, because we have lost the connection with YouTube. I think it's on. Okay, it's on now.
Quero agradecer a presença de todos os preletores. Vamos ter o Team Read aqui conosco, a doutora Fátima Sampaio Fernandes, vamos ter o Cedric Pendleton, Jamie Morgan Brown, a Tina Azevedo, que também já está aqui conosco, Lúcia Stanislas, que está dos dois lados da moeda, e Frank Shines, que também já está conosco. Vai ser um workshop muito, mas muito importante, fundamental até. Eu creio que seja a primeira vez que nós falamos sobre essa conexão entre os mídia e a indústria cinematográfica e a saúde mental.
Okay, so it's going to be, first she enlisted the people who are going to participate from this workshop, and she's stressing the importance of this workshop because it's the first time that this subject is talked about. So the relation between the media and the film industry with mental health. So it's a very, very important topic.
Aqui em Angola, quando nós fizemos a conexão com o cinema e começamos com uma sessão de cinema no Cine Geração.
Yes, here in Angola we have already started. We have kicked off with a movie screening, which was
Moça.
Moça. Yes, the name of the movie was Moça.
E as pessoas perguntavam-nos por que cinema? Por que nós estávamos a falar sobre cinema se nosso tema era saúde mental?
And people were wondering why film industry, why talk about what's the relation between the film industry, why this subject if we are talking about mental health, what's the relation?
E hoje nós vamos descobrir exatamente porquê.
And today we are going to find out exactly why.
Vou passar a palavra a Frank Shines, então, para começar com a sua preleção. Eu sei que tem preparado temas importantíssimos para a nossa discussão.
Okay, so up to you, Frank Shines. We know that you have prepared very important topics here for us today.
Então vamos.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, wherever we happen to find you all today, or perhaps even good evening. So, bom dia, boa tarde. Well, no, I'm Frank, and I'm the Stroud family spokesperson. We are responsible for a number of different initiatives around caring for individuals in underserved communities, primarily in the United States, Africa, Brazil, and the Middle East. We have a think tank center in Colorado Springs where we work directly with the Colorado College, Stroud scholars, as well as a number of
Frank?
I'm so sorry, we cannot hear you
Frank.
very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, and would you be so kind, please, as just to speak a little bit slower, just because I have to translate to Portuguese?
Yes.
Sorry.
Temos que fazer os dois.
So is the sound better, or are you still having troubles hearing?
Well, a little bit better, yes. Thank you.
Okay, it sounds like some are doing okay on Zoom and some are having problems otherwise. So I will speak slower and louder. So I'm
Thank you.
And I'm the representative for the Stroud Leadership Academy and the Stroud family. So welcome you all and thank you.
Ok. Portanto, o Frank Shines diz que ele é o porta-voz da família Stroud e é uma família que tem vários programas relacionados com a saúde mental, que dá apoio à saúde mental. Basicamente, isto foi o grosso. Depois deixámos de ouvir, então ele depois só resumiu e deu as boas-vindas a toda a gente e agradeceu pela oportunidade.
Bem-vindo, Frank. Welcome. Bem-vindo.
So we've already received the introduction for caller Dr. Fatima. So thank you, Dr. Fernandez. And what I'm going to do is share with you my story to start with, and then we're going to get some feedback from the participants and from Dr. Fernandez.
Vai partilhar a sua história.
But before we go into my story, just a couple of facts, just two slides, one on the United States. And I know that we're going to translate this. So Black suicide rates are up. Overall suicides and overdoses in the United States are up. And particularly individuals, younger adults, ages 10 to 24, 60% increase in the suicide rates associated with these individuals. So mental health is a very big problem in the United States.
Ok, então como podem ver aqui pelo slide, a saúde mental é um grande problema nos Estados Unidos. Dentro da comunidade negra, os suicídios entre 2017 e 2020 aumentaram em quase 40%, mais de 100 mil overdoses, mortes por overdose, até abril de 2021, portanto um aumento de 28,5%. Relativamente ao ano anterior, e foco principalmente na camada jovem, na faixa etária dos 10 aos 24. A taxa de suicídio esteve estável entre 2000 e 2007 e a partir de 2018 aumentou quase 60%. Portanto, ele está a enfatizar aqui esta faixa etária dos 10 aos 24 para chamar a atenção para a camada jovem, que é um grande problema nos Estados Unidos.
And with respect to Angola, I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Fernandez to add any additional information she would like as it relates to this slide. This was a forum that OSI hosted not long ago.
Ok. Ele está a passar a palavra, doutora Fernandes, para falar aqui deste slide em relação a Angola.
Nós tivemos essas estatísticas na altura do Fórum Científico aqui na OSI sobre violência doméstica, foram apresentadas exatamente pelo Ministério que é responsável por esse tema.
So these stats...
Nós temos aqui dados relativamente a crianças, não é? De 2020, junho de 2020 a maio de 2022, e são dados que são recolhidos através do número de telefone 15015, para onde se pode ligar para fazer queixa de maus tratos infantis.
Okay, so this data is regards children, and this data was collected mainly through phone calls. And they were also provided by the ministry that deals with these situations, which is, qual é que é o ministério?
Ação Social, Ministério da Ação Social.
Okay, so it's
Família e Promoção da Mulher.
Okay, so it's the ministry responsible for family and the women's promotion. Yes.
Então, é preciso perceber que no nosso contexto a denúncia é algo raro.
So we have to contextualize, and in the Angolan context, people don't tell about, and they don't talk about violence, domestic abuse. So no one comes forward, and even less they press charges. They never press charges. So in this context, it's very, very rare.
Por isso, estes dados são ainda mais alarmantes.
So if we consider that people don't come forward, these data are even more serious, because if they did, it would be even worse.
Isso significa que isto é provavelmente a ponta do iceberg.
So this is just the tip of the iceberg.
E aquilo que a ponta do iceberg nos mostra é maus tratos contra a criança, não é? O abandono, a acusação de práticas, a violência física, a violência sexual, a violência psicológica. Então não é fácil ser criança hoje em Angola.
So as you can see, it's not easy being a child here in Angola. We have negligence, we have physical abuse, we have sexual abuse, we have abandonment, witchcraft, murder, psychological abuse, so every type of abuse you can imagine.
Sim, e é preciso perceber que isso é particularmente grave, porque a nossa sociedade não fica contra quem faz isso, não é? Nós protegemos, nós, nas famílias, protegemos o agressor, não protegemos a vítima em geral.
So, and here in the Angolan context, it's even more serious because the society has the tendency to protect the abuser instead of protecting the victim. So it gets even more complicated and even more serious.
E por isso nós estamos aqui para atuar, né? Para tentar mudar um pouco.
And that's why we are here, to try and change this narrative, to shift the narrative.
Well, thank you, Dr. Fernandez. I'm going to just take a moment to tell you a little bit about my background, and unfortunately, the first part of my life was fairly challenging.
Portanto, agora temos aqui um slide que fala um pouco dos primeiros anos do Frank. Ele vai falar-nos um pouco disto e, como podemos ver, não foi assim uma infância muito fácil.
I was born and grew up in Oakland, California, at a time when that city, which is near San Francisco, had the highest crime rate in the nation.
Portanto, ele cresceu em San Francisco, numa altura em que o crime estava mesmo, as estatísticas do crime eram bastante elevadas.
So me and my 4 younger sisters, we grew up with a single mother on what's known as welfare, meaning that the government housing is how we lived, and we often were moving from apartment to apartment, and we're hungry. We saw the crime around us, and we saw the poverty.
Portanto, ele cresceu com 4 irmãs, uma mãe solteira, e viviam sempre a mudar-se de casa em casa, e principalmente casas comunitárias, bairros sociais.
Later, by the time I was 10 or 11 years old, I was being recruited by gangs, getting involved with crime, and was under a lot of pressure physically and psychologically. My younger sister was also sexually abused.
Okay. A irmã mais nova foi abusada sexualmente e ele, por volta dos 10 anos, já estava a ser recrutado por gangues para se iniciar na vida do crime, então vivia num stress e num abuso psicológico constante, principalmente por causa da questão da irmã e dos gangues.
So the state of California separated us from my mother and from my other brothers and my other sisters. And that was when I was at the lowest point in my life, and I contemplated suicide at only 12 years old.
Portanto, ele ponderou suicidar-se por volta dos 12, quando o estado da Califórnia decidiu separar toda a família, ele do resto dos irmãos, das irmãs e da mãe. Portanto, separou toda a família e ele diz que atingiu o fundo do poço e tentou suicídio aos 12 anos.
Today we have all sorts of DNA and genetics and great medical diagnostics, but at the time, what we did not know is my mother was suffering from Huntington's disease, which is an affliction that many of you may be familiar with, that know of Stephen Hawking, the great physicist.
Ok. Hoje a medicina já avançou e já há muitas técnicas de diagnóstico, portanto a ciência avançou imenso, mas na altura, afinal, a mãe dele padecia de Huntington's disease. Para quem não sabe, é a doença do Stephen Hawking, e eles não sabiam, só descobriram mais tarde, porque na altura não havia esse diagnóstico.
So at the lowest point, sometimes the greatest things happen. And because of that, my father was able to gain custody of my younger sister, Trudy, shown here, and me. And we moved out of California to near Seattle, up in Washington State.
Ok. E às vezes das piores adversidades surgem as melhores coisas, as melhores dádivas, e por causa dessa situação, o pai recuperou a guarda dele e da irmã que estava na foto anterior, então conseguiram mudar-se para San Francisco Bay Area, perto de Seattle, e na foto está o pai e a madrasta.
And one of the things that happened at that time is my stepmother, Corey, shown here in the picture behind me. This is my high school graduation. She was from Holland, and she had a different approach to how to treat children and raise children. That she passed on to my father, much more loving, much more caring, and less violence and less discipline.
Boa. Então, na segunda foto está ele a acabar o liceu com a madrasta, que é neerlandesa, e ele diz que teve sorte porque ela trouxe uma nova abordagem no que toca à educação e passou essa abordagem e essa perspectiva ao pai, portanto uma educação mais, com mais amor, com mais compreensão e com mais diálogo e menos violência, sim.
Because of the past abuse, I feared even my father up until college.
Devido às situações de abuso anteriores que ele tinha vivido, ele tinha medo do pai, viveu com medo do pai até ir para a faculdade.
So many of the ways that I protected myself was by reading books and getting involved in music and arts when I was a child to stay away from the house where the violence was.
Então, a forma que ele encontrou para abstrair-se dessa situação de violência em casa foi mergulhar-se em livros, na arte, nas artes, incluindo a música. Era a forma que ele encontrava para não ter de ir para casa e enfrentar essa realidade.
So once we moved to Seattle area, I got involved in playing the cello in the orchestra, got involved in arts and music and science and gymnastics, and was recruited to the Air Force Academy to study engineering and math.
Ok. Portanto, ele envolveu-se em atividades como ginástica, violoncelo, artes, informática, ciências, e foi escolhido para entrar para a Força Aérea, para estudar engenharia e matemática.
And it was here that I began to meet some of the great people, Henry Kissinger, former President Reagan, former President Clinton, and others, and went on to fly jets and later to work with IBM and Ernst & Young.
Portanto, foi aí quando entrou para a Força Aérea que conheceu várias pessoas de peso, nomes de peso, Reagan, Kissinger, Clinton. Portanto, foi uma grande oportunidade. Good.
While I was at the Air Force Academy, I received a phone call from my great aunt Lulu, and she asked me if I understood the history of my family.
Quando ele estava na Força Aérea, recebeu a chamada da avó, que lhe perguntou se ele conhecia a história da família.
And since I did not know the history of my family, I then spent the next 10, 12 years doing more research, and more recently completed a DNA analysis to see if the stories matched the DNA profile.
Ok. E ele disse que não conhecia a história da família e passou de 10 a 12 anos seguintes a fazer uma pesquisa do perfil da ADN da sua família e chegou a esta conclusão que podemos ver aqui no quadro.
Later today, we're going to hear from Tim Reed, and he's a very good friend of the family, and he's also a documentary specialist. And he is going to be working with us on a documentary to tell the full sweep of the story from the point that our family came over until present day. I realize that that's probably a long statement to translate, so let me just say that.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Tim Reed
Yes.
will be working with us on bringing this story to film.
Ok. Mais tarde vamos ouvir o Tim Reed. Ele é documentarista e também muito amigo da família e ajudou a fazer um documentário sobre esta jornada da história da família de Frank Shines.
And we'll also be seeing what's known as Race the Opera, a production that brings one part of the story around our Olympic 1928 quest, also to the musical stage in the form of an opera.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well. We are going to also?
Yes, we are also
Yes.
telling the story of my grandfather and his brother, Dolphus, their quest for the 28 Olympics in the form of an opera.
Ok. Também vamos ouvir a história do avô dele e a jornada para os Jogos Olímpicos de 1928.
And so the story of my family, and what I will do at this point is I'll turn it over to Dr. Fernandez, and maybe we can talk a bit about any observations that the audience has, as well as any comments that she can bring to the table.
Ok, vamos agora ouvir.
Everyone's time.
Ok, vamos ouvir agora a doutora Fernandes e colocar perguntas tanto do painel como aqui do público que possam ter para a doutora Fernandes.
Ok, obrigada, Frank. Gostei muito da tua história e parabéns pela superação.
So, thank you, Frank. She enjoyed hearing your story and she's congratulating you for for the fact that you overcame your situation and you were able to be here today.
Eu achei particularmente significativo o facto de ter chamado a atenção para uma forma diferente de educação, com menos violência, com menos repressão e com mais amor, não é? Porque penso que é mesmo a resposta para muitos dos problemas de saúde mental que as pessoas vivem hoje. Essa falta de amor na infância.
So she said it was particularly important, the fact that you stressed the shift in the education perspective, because that's, for her, it's what matters the most. It's an education with love, without violence. So that's the basis for the mental health or for the lack of mental disease. So to mental illness. So it was very important for the fact that you stressed that your stepmother's perspective on education.
E relacionando a tua história com a história de muitos dos meus pacientes, eu penso que o facto de teres falado do medo que sentias do teu pai é também importante, porque nós muitas vezes, aqui nós e na experiência dos meus pacientes, confunde-se muito a ideia de que respeito é igual a medo e respeito não é igual a medo. Medo é terror, não é? Respeito tem de ser igual a amor, mas nós não entendemos isso.
Okay, drawing the parallel between your story, your relation with your father and her patients, she can see that the common thread is the fact that people fear parents and it's not supposed to happen. People usually tend to mix fear and respect, and fear has nothing to do with respect. Fear instills horror. People are scared, and respect has nothing to do with it. So
yes, respect has to do with love. We respect those we admire, we love. When they say, "Oh no, he has to fear me because that's how I get respect," that's totally wrong. And that's what we do. That's what we teach our kids. You have to respect me. So you shut up. When I come into the room, you don't talk. And if I tell you to do something, you have to do it. And that's all. And that's it. And that's horrible.
No, this is true. This is exactly the situation. Yes.
Sim, portanto, sim.
Sim. Because I was talking to you, so então, yeah, sim, porque nós estamos sempre a incutir o medo e achamos que se a criança para me respeitar tem que estar calada quando eu entro na sala, tem que fazer tudo o que eu mando, não pode questionar, não pode perguntar porquê, se perguntar porquê está a ser mal educada, e então se ela não pergunta nada, se ela está quietinha, se ela está caladinha, se ela me obedece em tudo, então eu digo ok, isso sim, os meus filhos respeitam-me, e isso está errado, isso não é respeito, isso é temor, isso é medo, e medo é algo, sharing a case from a patient of mine, partilhando a história de uma paciente. They were so scared of their father because he could come at all hours, completely drunk, and he would wake them up, and he could wake them up with water, with a cake or something. And when she came to my room, okay, to therapy, she was like shaking, and she couldn't stop that. Even the head is shaking, you know. You have people with such levels of stress during the time they are growing up that they can't be at ease anymore. You know, it's a physical thing. Então eu tenho uma paciente, por exemplo, que tinha tanto medo, eles tinham tanto medo do pai, que podia chegar a qualquer hora à casa, completamente embriagado, acordar os miúdos da cama, bater à mãe, bater aos miúdos. Eles estavam sempre com medo de chatear o pai também nos deixava sair quando ele estava lá, e estava-lhes sempre a insultar, sempre a bater, e a minha paciente, em consultório, à minha frente, está a tremer com a cabeça o tempo todo, está a tremer o tempo todo. Então o medo é uma coisa traumática, é uma coisa da qual temos de fugir, na verdade, não é? E que temos de evitar. O respeito é algo muito diferente.
Deixa-me só adicionar que nós ainda hoje temos aqui um livro que a Fátima trouxe para mim, Educar Sem Bater. A pausa.
We have here a book that was written by Dr. Fernandes, and it was brought by Dr. Fernandes, which is to educate without beating.
Porque para nós isto é um mega tema, e nós estamos a falar de saúde mental, o nosso comum, não vou dizer normal, é comum.
Because today, still today, it is a very important subject, and unfortunately is common. It wasn't supposed to be, but unfortunately it is very common.
E nós temos estado a falar muito sobre isso na rádio para tentar levar essa mensagem a mais pessoas, e mesmo assim com muita resistência.
And we have been bringing this topic up on the radio several times to bring this message, to carry it forward and through the most number of people, but it's still very difficult because there is still a big resistance when it comes to this subject.
E há pessoas a pregarem ainda na internet, há influências que continuam a pregar a violência como uma forma de educação.
And there are still a lot of people on the internet and influencers that still think that violence is a form of education.
Então este é o ponto comum que eu queria trazer aqui entre a nossa realidade, e nós sabemos que nas comunidades negras em vários países do mundo é a mesma realidade.
So this is why we are bringing this up, because we know that this is a common topic amongst Black communities throughout the world. So it's very common situation.
Está altamente relacionado com a saúde mental.
And is highly related to mental health.
Então, Frank, pode continuar.
So, Frank, you can carry on. Thank you.
Yes, I'll just make one comment because just so insightful. The words, literally, when I was a child, I was beat while I was sleeping. And consequently, up until age 13, I wet the bed. So just the psychological impact that had for such a long time on my life. So I never want to, go to other people's houses because, of that fact, the possibility of wetting the bed, right? So yeah, it had a very profound effect.
Portanto, ele está a falar precisamente da questão que a doutora Fátima abordou. Ele diz que se identifica porque o pai dele também batia nele, ele às vezes estava só a dormir e o pai batia nele, e até aos 13 anos ele ainda urinava na cama e não ia para a casa de ninguém porque tinha vergonha, porque ele ainda fazia xixi na cama devido ao trauma e ao medo que ele tinha do pai.
We're at a point right now where we're preparing to just connect Tim Reed and make sure that we're all ready to go. So this would be a good time if you want to take a short bio break. Would that be okay, Lucia? Is that how you'd like to proceed?
Yes, if we can just take 1 minute break so we can regroup afterwards.
Ok. Portanto, uma pausa de 1 minutinho enquanto tentamos conectar com o Tim.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Frank.
E as perguntas vêm depois, nesse caso?
So the questions will come afterwards?
Yes, we will have an opportunity after Tim Reed, and we'll have a fuller Q&A session at that time as well.
Okay,
So,
okay.
if you don't mind. Also, you're more than welcome to put any questions on YouTube or via Zoom chat if you would like. Thank you.
Okay.
Então, perguntas abertas para o YouTube, para o Zoom também, podem deixar as perguntas. Vejo que no chat há uma mensagem e nós depois vamos fazer essa resposta. Essas respostas vão ser dadas mais tarde. Estamos a tentar conectar-nos com o Tim Reed, que entra agora às 16 horas com o seu painel. Estamos a pedir só um minuto para essa conexão. Vamos ter então o nosso convidado especial, o Tim Reed, que é ator, nomeado 2 vezes ao Emmy e diretor e produtor também. Uma honra tê-lo aqui hoje.
Okay, so we're trying to connect now to Tim Reed, which is an actor, 2 times Emmy nominated, and a director, producer. Oh, he's here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Tim. Hello, how are you?
I'm blessed, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
What I'd like to do, Lucia, we just want to make sure, because we said that there are some problems with my audio from the mobile. Are you in a position where you can have the video ready to go? I'll do an introduction to Tim Reed, and then we're going to first play the video with the interview with Athena, and then we'll listen to the keynote address. So if you're in a position where you can prepare to share that with the audience, or if there's someone else that has a good idea. Yes.
Yeah, Pedro is going to do that.
Okay, great.
Great.
Então vamos primeiro passar o vídeo e depois vamos ouvir Tim Reed, certo?
So first of all, everyone, thank you all, and thank you, Tim, for joining us today for this important session. OSI, One Heart for Mental Health. And Tim Reed is going to be speaking about the future of media and the impact of that on mental health. Now, I told you guys a little bit about my background, and I was lucky enough to be able to travel around the world, work with some of the top executives. And I just realized I'm speaking too long for the translation. So
Okay, it's okay. Portanto, o Tim Reed vai falar da indústria, como eu já tinha dito, e a relação com a saúde mental, e o Frank diz que tem a oportunidade de viajar pelo mundo para abordar este tema, e agora vai passar um vídeo do Tim Reed e depois entram os comentários.
Very good. So Athena is going to give a great introduction of Tim Reed's background, but I'm just going to give you my personal perspective as a friend of the family for the Stroud membership.
We're seen in the world, and how we have our mental health be affected or not, we bring awareness to that. And as our leading speaker for this day, we have Tim Reed, and I will go ahead and read his bio.
Pedro, podes pausar um bocadinho?
Though at times he's a groundbreaker.
Pausa, por favor. Okay. Now, Frankie, you can proceed. Sorry.
Yes, no trouble. So Tim Reed is a friend of the family, and a very close friend of my favorite cousin, Carl Bourgeois.
Portanto, o time é... Ai, deixa de se ouvir, não é? Não sei se ele se calou, se parou, deixou de se ouvir.
Não, está à espera que tu traduzas.
Ok, portanto, o Tim, como ele já havia dito, é um grande amigo da família, e depois deixei de ouvir.
Frank, can you please repeat just the last sentence? Then.
So he's a close friend of the family, and sorry?
Yes, and particularly my cousin, Carl. I'll just say my cousin Carl, only because the name is very complicated to pronounce.
Ok. Portanto, é um amigo próximo da família e principalmente do seu primo, Carl.
And my cousin introduced me to Tim Reed about a year ago.
Ok. O primo apresentou ao Tim há cerca de um ano.
And I've always been impressed with his movies. As a child, I watched WK and RP in Cincinnati. and was just amazed with the power of his voice in a way that was fun and funny, but it was also it was thoughtful, and it was a positive figure that I saw for the first time on television as a Black child.
Portanto, enquanto criança negra, ele sempre admirou o Tim e os seus filmes, porque a mensagem não só era engraçada, como também partia de um lugar de cuidado, era atencioso. Então, tendo em conta o contexto dele enquanto criança, era uma referência que ele tinha enquanto criança negra, o Tim.
And when we think of what makes us different from all the other species, it's our ability to tell stories.
E quando pensamos naquilo que nos distingue das outras espécies, é a nossa capacidade de contar histórias.
And Tim is one of our greatest storytellers of the past 50 years. So having said that, let's turn it over for the interview.
E o Tim é um dos maiores contadores de histórias dos últimos 50 anos. Dito isto, vamos passar ao filme. Ao vídeo, peço desculpa.
Muito bem, vamos então assistir ao vídeo da entrevista da Tina, que também está aqui conosco. A Tina entrevistou o Tim Reed e traz aqui este conteúdo importante para todos nós.
So this is an interview that was conducted by Tina, who is also here. So she interviewed Tim, and we are going now to watch this.
Quero
Vídeo.
também lembrar-vos que é só o início da nossa conexão e
has forever married in the minds of television viewers and remembered as the smooth DJ and the spy track on WKRP in Cincinnati, the show that ran from the late 70s to the early 80s. He was very strongly known in the U.S. film and television series. I first remember him from my childhood. He came to the role, this Venus flytrap role in the early career, playing up as a comedy and acting nightclubs across the country and a bit of various TV variety shows. The WKRP gave him that brief. And then he's a man with it. This man has done so much dedicated life to quality programs, supportive outback to Americans. And he went on to star in the main comedy series Frank's Place, which was played on PBS from 87 to 88, and Nick's Showtime show, which was 1998. He's directed several independent feature films, most notably the gripping historical drama Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored, 1995. He's dedicated to mature, intelligent fare, as well as easygoing comic talents, being both a favorite and favorite distinction in the entertainment industry. We're incredibly honored to have him here with us. He knows the industry from this really important prime time of American film and TV, which influences global politics as U.S. was dominating a lot when it came to media at that time. And he's come to us today in 2022 with great knowledge in that area. So, Tim, thank you for being here. You originally earned your bachelor's of business admin, and we know that you broke into media to a little bit as early roles, but can you tell us a little bit more how you came to it? How has entertainment become a deep interest of you? Were there any specific members or personal friends, family members, professional people that influenced you?
My early life influenced me in gripping ways. I was reared in very difficult circumstances in America at that time. I was raised in Norfolk, Virginia, in segregation, and stayed that way until I actually entered college in the early 60s. I had no social contact with white America at all. I never even spoke socially to white people until civil rights movement began. It was a very difficult life, but early in life, I was chosen by my grandmother really raised me to be a storyteller. And it was her insistence that I would come back from wherever I was at school or choir rehearsal or church, and I would have to literally tell her that she was a wonderful musician, and really kept increasing. Tell stories, keep telling stories, just don't tell me where she always friends with my grandma and boarding house. Numbers, so we about it. But and so that was always the briefing of strangers. Telling that story about the time. So I was really used to it. I didn't really understand it as much, but that's what I was story. But I didn't go in that way. I did business and became graduate college, became first and that's where I thought I was going to be in the corporation, first class management. And they sent me to Chicago. Strangely enough, they said they wanted to send me to Los Angeles, but they decided to send me a meeting. They said, well, we send to Los Angeles. They sent me to Chicago. But it was always really was anyway to perform, to tell stories. And while I was in the States, I met a young gentleman who told me that the JC meeting, Jim became so people asked me to join the JCs. But anyway, and we had a kinship. He was my first white friend. And it on the birthday. So he and I decided to work with some young students to talk about the ills and permits, things like that. We used to use a little humor. And one day a student said, you guys are funny. And lo and behold, in a bar, we had a couple of drinks. You want to try? Let's try. And that was 69. And I've been in this since. We started that and stayed together for about 5 years. We were America's first and only since black and white community, created a lot of about some incredible difficulties and interesting times. But we split up and all the way and began to act. And from there, one thing or two.
That's incredible. Thanks for sharing that story. And what stands out to me are two things, right? That your grandmother played such an role, and that connects us intergenerationally from the past to the future, and how each of us play that role to one generation to the next. And then the second one was that you and Tom on your comedy campaign, the desire of your duo started and was ignited about the well-being for your communities, anti-drugs, right? And so closely linked to mental health, as we know. And so I'd like to just bring it to this conference that we're having here. And since we're here about talking about amplifying a positive message for mental health and access to information on, can you talk a little bit about how you see the role of media and how it's affecting mental health, and how can the industry be mindful without taking away from human expression, of how to advocate for mental health within its community and its responsibility to the greater community, intergenerational.
Well, the mental health, what I learned growing up in the South and segregation. One of the most sustainable ways to keep a balanced mental view of oneself and one's community is through culture. And I was fortunate enough, in spite of the difficulties racially, that I knew I was loved. I knew I was part of a culture. It was rich culture. Although I never saw it on television, heard it in radios other than King's Handy, which was two white guys and blackface. Our culture was strong infusion of how we felt about ourselves. I literally had no sense of victimization in spite of because it was explained to me by the elders, in my community, how we have survived and the greatness of the people around me. I mean, my uncles, they were people who felt had survived World War I, the first pandemic. They had survived the Depression. Everything else was going out of the handbag. They survived, and that survivor, they were still considered the greatest generation in modern era. Those people, they were the ones who faced they fought 2 wars at times. They Depression, the fall of Wall Street, and all of them, black and white, were able to survive and build the infrastructure that we now use today. From systems to telephone poles to universities, they built it, and those are being raised. And this happened. Some mental illnesses have surfaced in such places that when you deconstruct, when you kill the traditions in which are passed down, the folk, the spiritualism, the sense of the universe coming of age, things that they would have to go through really on. When you deconstruct those, you then change the view of the culture. You begin to claw away at the mental base that someone needs in spite of the poverty that I grew up with, in spite of being a bastard child. I know his father was 9, so there were men around me who had a certain symbolism about it, a certain tradition that I saw strength, I didn't see weakness. I saw fighters, I didn't see victims. I saw people who made it work, who did what they had to do. It wasn't, it wasn't Ozzy and Harriet, it wasn't what we see on television. I had no idea what that world was like. I was not even interested in it because it was about survival. It was about providing for one's community. Built their colleges, built their hospitals. And they were all around newspapers. There were about 1,200 newspapers back in America. That's that told the story of themselves. When someone got married, someone was, I remember seeing the first time my name in print. The local black newspaper. The first time I was in a magazine, this was Jet magazine, Mr. Johnson, Ebony magazine. So those structural things were important to us. And then in the 50s and 60s, some smart industrialists decided that it would be best to have more control and build industries that really would take away, like the GI Bill and all the warfares came in World War II. Hundreds of thousands of black men and women who served. They weren't part of the GI Bill, but they didn't get it. They built leather town for the white soldiers, but in our communities, they built projects, which, by the way, you couldn't own. So you lose your wealth, you lose a sense of how to build wealth, family wealth. And then they had this crazy, it was almost like you couldn't plan a more deconstructed way of as well as they did it. I mean, they made it to the point where probably $50 more a month. And the man who gave the job couldn't live in the house. You couldn't go to college. You could go to beauty school or take a craft, but you couldn't go. If you did, they would put you out of the project. So that mentality, there was no welfare for black people at that time. That's a later event. So it really deconstructed the culture, the tradition. And I think it began to claw at the mindset, and victimization became a product of entertainment. Victimization in movies, there's a whole era of movies they call race movies that were created by black filmmakers, Spencer Williams, Oscar Micheaux, Noble Johnson. They built studios. They made films to show the culture the way that they do. which countered the culture that white filmmakers were making about us. They kept us enslaved, they kept us birth of the nation, the angry black, only good for working and dancing. And so they tried to do that and was very successful until about the mid-50s. And then it went away. And when it came back, it was very much stereotypical of the modern era. So they began to deconstruct how we thought about ourselves. When you do that to someone, you begin to chip away at their mental structure, strength. And I think a lot of that in the Black community, both here and on the continent. When you look at the continent, look at what's happening, all the wealth, all of the great resources, how come they are not being mined and shipped by people who were there, who tilled the soil? It's that whole sense of how things have to work, and we're not a part of that indeed. So I think now we have to look at this media because it's Pandora's box. It's not going to go away. You can either continue to be conditioned, or you have to take charge of your story and begin to condition yourselves and your family and people around you in a way that's going to sustain the tradition, sustain the culture. And that's all about. That's what I want to see happen. That's what I try to do with the product. And anytime I have any sense of control over the media, I try to assert.
And we're moving in such a powerful time. In a way, you could say that when that generation that you were part of in the beginning, before media became so centralized and monetized, as it were, central monetization and control, and people in power who controlled it. There was, as you say, a rich discourse of small media makers telling their own stories in their own. And with the way internet has gone on the positive side of the double-edged sword, as it were, we have this opportunity now to claim back our local stories, our small, our own power of communicating what matters to us. Can you talk a little bit more about the state of this media industry, its evolution, and also your role as a leader in your industry? And I looked back at your bio, between 97 and 2014, at that point, one of the largest independent film studios outside of Hollywood. And it also, at the time of construction, was the only black film studio in the USA since the 30s.
Yeah.
And yes, that's remarkable in and of it.
It's true.
Yeah, stupidness and greatness go hand in hand. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this LGCY here, or maybe it's pronounced legacy TV.
Well, legacy of people, I brought the young folks. I said, maybe for the young people making more of LGCY TV, all right, but it's legacy of the people. When I started in show business, and let's say television was 75, I first was on a television show. If you look back at the context of television, there were about 15 companies that control 80 to 90% of all media. That's music, television, radio, however media was, but newspapers, magazines, about 50 companies. In less than 10 years, that was down to about 20 something. Going into the 80s, about 12. Then you get to the 90s, and you get 6 or 7 companies. With the heads of companies control 70 to 80% what we see around the world. Now it's less than 3 or 4, and that is including the internet. Or media. When you look at the power brokers, wherever it is, you look at the breadth of their control on media, it's nothing that's going to change, but it is a power that is here how do you compete? How do you get your story of cultural significance out in front of people? How does Africa tell its story? The greatness of its story. Rely on people who are making movies on South now, Wakanda. When I first saw Wakanda, it was a movie. It was very uplifting. It really helped us mentally in terms of, hey, we have great descendants. But I kept saying, you know, there's a real Wakanda. It's going to be Philippines. It's the only country that I know of in history that from antiquities until today, it's never been ruled by a white person. It's never been defeated by colonials or wars. That was Wakanda. I mean, it has a rich history. And you look at other countries in Africa, way before colonization, those stories never get told. And why are they important? Well, they're important for young people who are going to rebuild this world as it has happened in generations prior there. Somebody has to rebuild and fix some of the mistakes that are how are they going to put the base, what they're building it for? What are they going to use if it's going to be the media? And they've got to know that they can control the media and ownership. The thing that we started in the studio back in the day, this first one we take money and made it, but it was studio. It cost $1 million that we built it as you mentioned investment. But 51 cents of every dollar came out of my pocket. I had no idea that the repercussions were this strong. It wasn't just about race versus studio show, but it was about power. I misjudged that. I didn't realize that it wasn't that I was any question. That wasn't it. It was just a mental state that if he does it, then others are going to do it. And sure enough, I've done it. Tyler Perry took I used to hang out in my studio. Tyler Perry used to come visit my studio back in the day. So it's the thought and control of one's culture that's right. People who control the power of it. So I decided that I made that plunge and I understand that there is power in that. How can I control my story? How can I add to the well-being of our culture and traditions of our culture, wherever they come from? And that is controlling distribution, controlling your platform. And that's what I'm hoping to do now, is to create an international platform. That I was just in the Caribbean, and I was speaking to some folks down there. One of the things that I said, and I saw the eyes of some of the politicians there light up. I said, "You realize that the Caribbean was the new world?" I said, "It wasn't America. America didn't even work from the beginning of 1492 or whatever it was. It didn't work. The first Jamestown settlement starved to death. We celebrate Thanksgiving because the colonials couldn't survive and the Indians brought them food that they were starved to death. So America was not that profitable a venture back then. There was no great cotton, there was no great sugar cane coming from America at that time. It was all coming from the New World, which was the Caribbean, these islands, Haiti, and all these islands, you know, Hispaniola, all those places created and saved the old world. The old world was just emerging from the dark ages, and the wealth that brought the old world back to its glory came from the New World, which were the Caribbean islands, all the way to Barbados, to Trinidad, all these islands. But they don't get any credit for that. When you think about stories, and you always think about them slaves, the nation of Africans, but they don't come. Films that are created off of their abilities to survive incredible conditions and create the kind of wealth that saved the whole world. These stories need to be told. And it's not about one being greater than the other, it's about getting young.
Isso mesmo. Ouvimos Tim Reed, isto é extrato da entrevista com a Tina Azevedo.
So we have seen an extract of Athena Azevedo's interview with Tim Reed.
que está a falar do futuro dos mídia e a relação com a saúde mental.
Who is talking about the media's future and its relation with mental health.
Contou um bocado sobre a sua experiência e a evolução.
He has talked about his experience and evolution.
E está a ser moderado por Frank Shines, então passo a palavra de volta para Frank.
Well, where Frank Shines is the moderator, so.
No, very good. Yeah, what we want to do is we whet your appetite. We're going to provide the link both on Zoom and on YouTube Live for those of you who would like to watch the entire interview. We're now going to watch the keynote address. If you can tee that up, Lucia and Pedro, I think you all are going to be impressed with the words and the wisdom that Tim Reed provides.
Portanto, provavelmente estamos todos impressionados com a sabedoria e com as palavras do Tim até agora, e para quem estiver interessado na entrevista completa, vão ceder o link para o YouTube e para o Zoom, para depois poderem ver o resto da entrevista.
Frank?
Agora passamos para o
Acho que ele
próprio...
caiu.
Agora passamos, o Pedro vai agora partilhar o vídeo com...
Que foi feito especialmente para o workshop.
Exatamente. Pedro, por favor.
Vamos então assistir ao vídeo que foi feito especialmente para o workshop desta tarde, para nós, e manhã nos Estados Unidos da América. Outra vez dizer bem-vindos e obrigada por estarem connosco. Quem está connosco no YouTube e também está a assistir através do Zoom. Temos na sala atores, produtores de cinema também, os oradores que vão fazer parte também deste momento, que estão aqui, Cedric Pendleton e Jamie Brown.
Okay. For who has just arrived, welcome. So we are here at the workshop, Ozai's workshop regarding mental health and its relation to film industry and the media. In the room, we have several people from the film industry, actors, producers, other artists. And we are now watching an interview from Athea to Tim Reed. The video was made specially for this workshop. So welcome everyone that is watching us via Zoom and via YouTube as well.
Eu estive a ver esse vídeo que nós vamos seguir mostrar-vos e é simplesmente encantador perceber que apesar de nós estarmos em lugares diferentes, pensamos tão similar.
So Dikla said she has already watched the film that we are going to watch now, and it's impressive to realize how similar we are, even though we are from such different parts of the globe.
Estamos tão conectados e tão preocupados em mudar o rumo do que nós temos estado a ver a nível do cinema e também dos mídia.
And how connected we are and concerned for changing this reality that we are living.
E fico muito feliz por estarmos reunidos aqui esta tarde para nós e manhã para vocês, exatamente com esse objetivo.
And I'm very happy that we are all here together this morning or afternoon with this common goal.
Vamos então assistir ao vídeo com atenção.
So let's watch the video.
O som.
It was my destiny to become long before I knew what the word destiny meant. Since the dawn of civilization, people of African descent used storytellers to pass on history, culture, and meaning to their rituals. Like so many before me, I was chosen to follow that tradition and become a reader. It was my grandma Beulah, the matriarch of our Orthodox tribe, who gave me the honors and insisted follow the mission and become a family's storyteller. In the South where we lived, she owned a boarding house in the center of town, an area defined by the boundaries of racial segregation. White folks call it colored town. We simply call it. My grandma's place was a kind of unstable, turbulent years as a child. She rented rooms and sold whiskey illegally. So there were lots of characters coming and going as they struggled to make their way, desperate to find a place to rest and breathe for a short period of time. I can still recall the joy sitting along the beaten down, mostly male renters from upstairs, all gathered in the kitchen, telling me exaggerated stories of their survival students as they shared a pot of beanie beans, bacon, cornbread, and a pipe of old cold whiskey. My grandma would call on the occasion to tell a story. She'd say, tell that story about when the big woman in the choir got so happy and full of the spirit, she jumped up on the pulpit, knocked over the preacher, and fell down, taking up the alto section. He would then laugh like no one else. Of all the joys I've had in this life, only a few measure up, watching the tears back explode in my grandma's face, and knowing that I was able to breathe joy in a difficult life. As a storyteller, I take pride in knowing that for a few fleeting moments, I was able to replace the lines of stress and struggle in the face of those broken men in my grandma's kitchen, to whom back in some reflection. No matter where ancestors were taken or chose to settle to seek a better life, there's one thing we have in common. We all have to struggle against the odds wherever we are at whatever time and place. Life is seldom been one of privilege and ease. I stand here today 3 generations from slavery. My great-grandfather was a sharecropper and worked the same land where his father had been a slave. The stories handed down to me about my culture and my people have been very useful in helping me keep mental balance during the many struggles of my life. There were times when my dreams seemed all but impossible, when I stood with the taste of defeat overcoming my senses. There were times I wanted to back away, avoid the challenge, but then I would think of the people who sat around my grandma's kitchen table. And I think, whatever I'm going through is pale in comparison to what they faced and endured. I was raised by people who fought in 2 world wars. They courageously fought for the rights of others, the same rights that they did not have in their own countries. That's character. They lived through the pandemic of 1918, and they had no bounds in wearing a mask. They survived the Great Depression and did so facing the segregation of race every day of their lives. I never think of these people as victims because despite the system that is designed to keep them down, they can't move forward. In Colored Town, where I live, people. Whenever I face a challenge or my future seems bleak, I imagine my grandma telling me, you'll be all right, baby. Don't you dare step back. You just keep moving forward. You're bound to run into something. Up around, I had. My grandma had no more than a 6th grade education. Yet she was one of the wisest people I have ever met. She had that simple, dead-on kind of wisdom. She could tell you the line before the words dried on your lips. I'm going to pause here to tell you a little story about my grandma. She was older. So they from home, I got a call one day saying she was in the hospital. I jumped in my truck, 16 hours straight to the gym. As I walked into the hospital, all the nurses coming to her, she said, "Oh, you must be scrambled." She said, so I went in the room, she's sitting on the side of the bed dress. Just ready to go. He was on the looking. She said, "Judy," she said, "Get me out of here. You're trying to kill me." I said, "All right, see, we can get you released." So they released her, and I was taking her home. She said, She said, baby, you know what need and you know what you did to the post office. All right. I knew what she did. She wanted to get a boot camp in society. Got it for her. Oh, I'm better now, baby. So I take her to the post office. I'm in line. She's over on the side, just standing there, looking at pictures on the wall. I see her. Is she all right? I see her. Is everything all right? She's sitting here, baby. She's a woman. So, oh, those are people who won't get it. The police. Yeah. She said, they want it. So why did they keep on? They took the picture. Once they left home and started school, they were changed and conditioned by others. The system took over. Began to feed them the information and stories that would shape their minds and tell them who they were and what they could expect out of life, a life that wasn't made for them. Thank God, back then, there were many of us who had the mental strength to fight through the negative energies and stereotypes we face on a daily basis. Today, the negative mental conditioning we still face is stronger than ever, and our Black communities are now separated by economic hardships and issues of segregation and racism. The power of the media is stronger than ever. TV, smartphone, video games, the latest music, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the metaverse. I'm not sure you truly understand the power and influence that media has over our lives, our culture, and our mental health. How many of you realize that politics, religion, news, sports, education, business have all been transformed? What used to be simply information and news and entertainment now come to be known as infotainment. We now live in societies that are heavily dominated by mass media, where large corporations use the streaming, broadcast, news they want society to accept. They define the perception of what is sold to us as reality. Technology's latest $100 billion dream often is the metaverse. Founder Mark Zuckerberg said the metaverse will soon become the primary way we live our lives and spend our time. Oh, goody. I physically go to a beautiful island, coast of Africa or somewhere. Like, oh, when I can go downstairs to the basement of my parents' house, put on some virtual glasses, turn my mind over to artificial reality, sit in my underwear and experience the artificial virtual world that technology is making possible. No, I can't touch the sand. There's no sand in my ears. But I can perceive that I'm there. I can imagine the warmth of the sun, the sound of the ocean breeze blowing up the surface, the smell of the ocean. It's not the ocean. I see my underwear hours. Whether we are experienced or virtual glasses, by shaping the world or Hollywood movies. This is the media and entertainment that classifies and defines the world of us. Puts it in sequence, frames it, enlarges or reduces it, colors it black, white, yellow, or brown. It's constantly orientation of what should be. It supplies the information that you use to determine who you are, what your culture is, what they want to do. When we are pressured to follow someone else's agenda, form to traditions other than our own, it can lead to increased stress, depression, anxiety, and other negative reactions. This constant pressure from society can have a detrimental impact on our mental health. We have surrendered our minds, our dreams, our culture, and our mental health to an artificial medium under the control of very few. We wonder why so many people have lost their desire to dream great dreams, to have pride in their communities and institutions. Now we are people who would rather sit in a comfortable chair and binge watch Netflix. Black folks around the world watch more television and use their smartphones just about more than any other people. Since we have allowed ourselves to fall under the spell of media propaganda, people of African descent appear to be the only culture on this planet to allow others instead of themselves to tell, to distribute, control their stories, and dictate their traditions and beliefs. It's like a sick game of Simon Says. Simon says, you're violent and aggressive, and we follow the plan and fill their prisons. Simon says, education is wasted on you, and we drop out of school. Simon says, your value is less than other races of people, and we self-hate and destroy each other. Whatever Simon says, we do our best to dance to the tune. Like young people say, it's not the words, it's the beat, and the beat goes on. This negative conditioning has played a major role in the destruction of the Black family and has been proven to be a major cause of many mental health problems, and it plagues our world. People of African descent whose lives have been marginalized by those in power experience life differently than those whose lives had not been devalued. We experience overt racism and bigotry far too often, which leads to a mental health burden that's deeper than what others may face. The influence of culture on our health is undeniable. It plays an important role in how we express ourselves, seek help, cope with stress, and seek social supports. Culture affects every walk of our lives, including how we experience, understand, express, and address emotional and mental distress. So imagine how dangerous it is to allow others to define your culture and feed it back to you in daily doses. Today, we seem to spend a whole lot of time hoping and praying that things will get better as we allow our realities to be determined by others. Most see life as a big gamble. Maybe we'll hit the lottery or Bitcoin will go up and hopefully stay up. But with all the issues we face today, we seem to be like a deer in the headlights, slow to take action to change our realities. Way too many of our people are mentally distressed. No one wants to be woke. Woke is now a dirty word. A word as defined in the dictionary, meaning aware of and attentive to the important facts and issues facing society. But no, they don't want us to be woke. If you are, well, woke, those in power will be angry with you. They will cancel your culture. You could be punished, banned on television, removed from Twitter, TikTok, or asked to leave the work. We seem to allow the art of being awake to other people, politicians, celebrities, technology, Google, apps, the metaverse. It would be so wonderful if we could just call to Siri, Alexa, and say, Alexa, make my life better. And she would answer back, you're screwed. But not to worry, artificial intelligence will create every virtual thing we need. And if that doesn't scare you, nothing will. And if any of you think you will be invited to join Elon Musk on Mars, you should think twice about that. We Black folks are the ones they are trying to get away from. There will be no shuttle from Africa to Mars. We're all at a critical point in our history as we witness the dynamic merger of technology and humanity. Technologies will either assist our cultural diversity to flourish and enhance our future, or through its formidable power, it will destroy any chance of us realizing our cultural destiny. It's solely up to those who control and program its media power. Those of us who fight to maintain some cultural significance in this new world of the latest technology must become cultural programmers or continue to be programmed. Our ancestor, W.E.B. Du Bois, once said, "A culture will live or die by its ability to control its propaganda." It's time for us to revisit the wisdom of our ancestors. Using the incredible advances made in technology, just about anyone can create media content and use it to define and control information. And by doing so, they can alter the reality that others declare as truth. Perception now rules over reality and truth. To program or continue to be programmed, that is the question that we must all face at this point in our society. Our mental well-being depends on our decision. Many are saying that we of African descent slipped into a cultural dark ages. I personally think we are somewhere in between. I think of Charles Dickens, who wrote, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness." In my opinion, that our culture and traditions are dying from neglect. We're at the age of forgetfulness. For those of us who have been blessed with the opportunity to create and distribute infotainment, we must be awakened. We owe it to our ancestors, those who stood tall so that we could stand here today. What must we do? Well, we must make use of this ever-changing technology and have a hand in telling the stories that media uses to define and shape the stereotypes and opinions for people and my culture. For the last 40 years of my life, I have tried to honor that tradition of being real. I've dedicated myself and my career to create vehicles and institutions which offer options to empower individuals and organizations that presently produce and attempt to distribute their diverse content across all current and future media platforms. I want to aid in the growth of independent media creation. It's time to regain control of the perception and redefine the reality of our culture. Here's a look at what we've been up to. Hello, I'm Tim Reed. Over a few decades, I have worn many hats in the business of television and film: actor, director, writer, and producer. Global media is in the midst of dramatic changes as it expands to provide social and cultural perception by way of entertainment to billions of people on a daily basis. Along with other dedicated filmmakers and storytellers from around the world, our mission is to use our skills and experiences to create content that will have a significant impact on the history and culture of the African diaspora wherever they may have settled in the world. The LGCY network is not just a brand, it's who we are. Our purpose is to help define the legacy of a people. So join us. LGCY TV's video podcast channel offers lively discussions as we view the world through our eyes. We'll inform, uplift, and explore stories and events featuring celebrities, journalists, activists, and other movers and shakers, all with but one purpose: to shine light on the lives and voices of those whose opinions are seldom heard. There will be much to choose from, so join us at LGCY TV. It's not just a network, it's who we are, the legacy of a people.
Xhosa is one of the 11 official languages of this beautiful country of South.
Right. You guys are funny. You ought to become a comedy. For years, people will probably not even know that history was there. That's a possibility. We said the opportunity and we just wait for it.
I'll tell you a secret.
I changed locations. I know they don't know that. I'm giving y'all the behind the scenes.
O som, Pedro, paramos de ouvir.
I'm here to announce that we are adding a new channel to our network. The channel will cover travel, culture, and art. We are traveling now more than ever before, spending billions of dollars internationally. LGCY TV wants to be there with you to see the world through our eyes and to tell our stories, rediscover our culture, and explore our love for art. So join us as our network of channels expands. What if we focus our creative talents on the elements of change and join in the birth of something new and bright? I'm in the final stages of joining with others to launch an international media platform, not as a rival to anything that already exists, but an alternative, a source of programming that pays respect to the glorious history of our ancestors, the hopes and dreams of people who have suffered for our dream, and to provide a place where our stories could be told and distributed independently of forces that normally control our culture. I hope you will consider joining me in this segment. It's for the mental health of our country.
Aplauso, aplauso para Team Read, neste vídeo feito exclusivamente para nós, feito com exclusividade para nós para este dia do workshop. Quero dar as boas-vindas a quem chegou um pouco depois e fazer um pequeno resumo do que nós já fizemos. Já tivemos Frank Shines, o porta-voz da Stroud Family e também autor, a fazer a introdução aqui junto com a Fátima Sampaio Fernandes.
Okay, so Dikla was welcoming everyone who arrived a little bit later, and she was just summing up what we've done up until now. We have heard Doutora Fátima, the moderator, Frank Shines, and now we've watched Team Read's video, both videos. And
falamos um bocado sobre os dados aqui da Angola. Nós tivemos dados partilhados aqui no nosso fórum.
We have compared and contrasted data on mental health, both in the US and here in Angola.
Ouvimos a história do Frank Shines, a história inspiradora de superação.
We have heard the inspiring story of Frank Shines.
E agora tenho que fazer esta piada. Estamos a ouvir um dos pais gigantes, nem sei se digo pai grande, um dos gigantes pais, é uma coisa nossa. Está lá um aqui nosso.
Okay, so now we've heard, so there's pai grande, it's an expression.
Doesn't have any translation.
Doesn't have a translation, so the literal translation would be the big father. So, so it's someone very important in a given area. So in this case would be Team Read in this specific area.
E vamos ter mais daqui a bocado também um dos oradores principais, que é o Jamie Morgan Brown.
And in a few moments we'll have here one of the main moderators.
Agora é hora de perguntas para as respostas de Frank Shines e da Team Read, que em alguns minutos também vão nos deixar continuar porque têm outros compromissos na sua agenda.
Okay, so now we'll go to the Q&R because Tim and Frank will have to leave in a few moments. So
perguntas válidas também para quem nos está a ver a partir do YouTube e para quem está no Zoom em conferência e quem está aqui na sala, obviamente.
So the questions are open for everyone here in the room, YouTube and Zoom as well.
O microfone está aberto. Quem vai ser o primeiro? Geralmente essa é a parte mais difícil, começar.
Who's first? Questions?
Lely, estavas a fazer um comentário positivo sobre todo este discurso que nós vimos no vídeo do Team Read. Queres falar agora? A Luca ajuda aqui na tradução.
Boa tarde a todos. Mais do que uma questão, e talvez desenvolvem questão, mas é comentário de elogio, porque
It's more of a commentary of a compliment.
sim, a tradução é verdade. Foi um discurso muito bonito e o que me chamou a atenção foi o facto da palavra utilizada não ser temos que lutar contra, né? Porque geralmente a ideia de lutar contra é fazer resistência a algo, e fazer resistência a algo traz mais daquilo. Então gostei desse discurso de alternativo. Ok, desculpa.
Okay, so he's stressing the fact that in his whole speech, the term used was not to fight against something, because because usually violence tends to generate more violence. So he's fond of the expressions used, and he says it's very important the fact that it wasn't the preposition against wasn't used. So for him it was very important that fact.
E fazer lembrar um discurso também de uma figura que é muito conhecida, Martin Luther King, que disse: eu tenho um sonho. Ou seja, ele visualizou aquilo que ele queria de diferente para a época que eles viviam. Então eu acho que para esta nossa indústria, eu digo que eu tenho um sonho, e ouvir o Sr. Tim traz essa inspiração de que nós podemos trazer mudança com o sonho, com a energia do amor, com a energia de fazer melhor.
Okay. Basically, he's focusing on Dr. Martin Luther King's speech when he said he had a dream. So, drawing the parallel to now, he also had a dream, and listening to this speech, he's stressing the importance of the message, a message of love and uma mensagem de amor.
Sim, a mensagem de mudança.
Of change, of love, of change.
Certo. E pronto, a minha questão, se calhar, que eu colocaria agora é relativamente a esta plataforma.
Ok.
Que, pronto, como ator, produtor, interessa-nos muito e perceber como é que nós podemos colaborar. Nós estamos à volta do mundo, estamos na América, né? Temos nossos irmãos americanos com origem da África e que nesta altura querem resgatar histórias nossas. Se calhar, pronto, pronto, e a questão é como é que seria, trazer essa discussão, como é que seria possível esta parceria de nós, por exemplo, em Angola, que começamos a fazer coisas, como é que nós poderíamos colaborar convosco, com essa vossa network, né? Como é que nós podíamos trazer histórias juntos e colaborarmos, como é que seria possível isto?
Okay, so he's asking basically how would a collaboration between the US and Angola be possible in this mission of carrying through this message of telling our own story. So how could this happen, this collaboration happen between Angola and the United States? A pergunta é para quem?
Porque, pronto, Sr. Tim Reed.
Okay, so Mr. Tim Reed, this question is for you. So how would this collaboration happen, and how could we carry this message, our story, tell our story globally?
Porque nós temos o material humano, temos as histórias e começamos a fazer com qualidade, mas a questão é, o poder está na distribuição e a distribuição está aí fora. Então como é que seria isto possível?
Okay, because we have the human resources, we have the stories, but the problem is the distribution. How could we do that?
First, obrigado. And that's about all the Portuguese I know. We can do that by stepping into the 21st century. It is easier, as I said before, for any of us to create content, to tell a story. What we have to do is connect, to unify the delivery of those stories around the world, to the African diaspora, wherever they are. And we can do that by working together, by sharing stories. What I hope to do with my network is to have, let's say, LGCY TV Angola, LGCY TV Ethiopia, LGCY TV Ghana, LGCY TV Cape Verde. Have those connected by means of a server, an international server available to everyone. And we can share our stories so that we can let the world know how we are really together, how we really are one. And if we do that and work together and share our stories,
It's easy. Technology is there to make it happen. We just have to connect. And that's the hardest thing for a continent of almost 1 billion people to connect. We still seem to want to connect to the European continent to go somewhere. We don't have to. We can connect to each other. And it is available to us today to do that because of technology. As I said, Pandora's box is open and anyone will be affected by it if they choose to.
Muito bem. Dos obstáculos, é para traduzir, dos obstáculos que nós vamos superar ao longo do tempo é a língua. E quero também anunciar que vamos ter a Luca conosco, pelo menos aqui na Alsai, para ajudar-nos a fazer essa conexão. Começar por aí.
Okay, she is saying that one of the obstacles we have to overcome is the language. And that's why I'm here and I will be here to translate. I would just like to ask you, please, to remember that I'm doing the the interpretation over here. So if you could just pause a little bit, so that I can, regroup, please. So I will try not to sum it up. Basicamente ele disse que temos de entrar para o século XXI e aproveitar as ferramentas que temos à nossa volta, principalmente a tecnologia, e todos os africanos que estejam na diáspora trabalhar em conjunto e tirar, não é tirar vantagem, retirar vantagem, se isso em português, né? Sim, retirar vantagem dessa tecnologia. Portanto, ele falou do canal dele, por exemplo, criar um canal, em vez de ser só nos Estados Unidos, criar um no Ghana, um na Nigéria, portanto, trabalhar, sim, Angola. Ele deu exemplos de vários países, foi mesmo a título de exemplo para dizer que, tendo uma plataforma, nós podemos reproduzir essa mesma plataforma e trabalhar todos em conjunto enquanto diáspora. Portanto, conectarmos, tu tens uma história, ele tem outra, vamos conectar e vamos contar a história uns dos outros. Portanto, assim muito resumido foi isso.
Ou seja, está aberto para essa parceria e para nós manifestarmos essa vontade.
Exato.
E fazermos a conexão, e este é o primeiro passo que nós estamos a fazer aqui hoje.
Yeah.
And
This is the first step today.
Excuse me interrupting, but we just did that. We're doing that today. My speech was translated and you read it in your language.
Exactly.
I spoke it in English. So it is possible. Technology exists to connect us all.
Ele basicamente disse o mesmo que a Dicla. Demos esse passo hoje. Ele deu o exemplo, o discurso dele foi feito em inglês. Nós estamos aqui a ouvir, eu estou a traduzir para português, portanto este é o primeiro passo e é um exemplo do aproveitamento da tecnologia a nosso favor.
É exatamente isso que eu estava a dizer, vê. Vou deixar o Cedric Pendleton também fazer a sua pergunta. Cedric has a question.
I don't know if you can possibly see me, Tim, but hey,
oh, there you go.
Oh, hola. I'm from the United States, but I had the honor of having you to produce the first movie that I had the opportunity to star in, which was called Nothing Too Loose with Martin Jones.
Yeah, wow.
Ele é americano, mas teve a oportunidade, teve a oportunidade. O primeiro filme que ele protagonizou foi produzido pelo Tim Reed e ele diz que foi uma honra.
And I saw Martin Jones at AFM 2 weeks ago for the first time in over 20 years. And so I said the same thing to him that you have embarked on.
E há 2 semanas ele teve a oportunidade de ver o Martin Jones, que já não via há 20 anos, e teve a oportunidade de dizer a mesma coisa que o Tim Reed tinha dito que seria.
So my point is, I want to definitely assist you in your vision of gathering content from around the world because that is exactly what I came out of AFM realizing, is that we did not control our narrative, that someone else was distributing and controlling it.
Então, basicamente, ele quer ajudar o time nessa visão de controlar a nossa própria narrativa, porque ele há muito apercebeu-se de que é esse o nosso maior problema. Nós não controlamos a nossa própria narrativa, e então está a disponibilizar-se para ajudar o time nessa missão.
So on the first night of my arrival, the first thing I said was, we have to have the financial resources to be able to control our narratives in the world and not allow so many other people to receive the monetary reward for that.
E a primeira coisa que ele disse quando chegou, e ele repete, é que temos de ter os recursos financeiros para ter controle sobre a nossa própria arte, controlar a nossa narrativa e não permitir aos outros que tenham lucro, que obtenham lucro com aquilo que é nosso. Portanto,
so look for a phone call from me after the holidays.
Portanto, podes esperar por uma chamada minha depois das festas.
Okay.
Uau, uau, muito bom. Ai, isso é tão excitante estar aqui hoje a presenciar esta conexão que nós estamos a fazer e este momento que de alguma forma é histórico para nós.
So it's very exciting to be here and to witness this connection, and because this is history in the making, so it's very exciting for her and for us as well, if I may.
Tim.
Yes. Well, thank you for allowing me to speak, and just know that everything we need to do what we should and have to do is available to us now. Technology has made it possible to do that now. We just have to understand the importance to connect, and it can be done. We're going to announce the launch of an international connection very shortly. Hopefully in the next couple of months, the servers will be up and running. And we will be able to share our content in your language so that we can subtitle it. I show Ethiopian movies and in their language, and I just put subtitles at the bottom, and they're being shown here in America and throughout my system. So it can be done. Don't let the fear keep us from doing what should be done.
Portanto, não deixem que o medo vos impeça de fazer aquilo que tem de ser feito, e tudo aquilo de que precisamos para fazer aquilo que necessitamos está nas nossas mãos, porque basicamente é só aproveitar a tecnologia, e a tecnologia está aí e nós devemos utilizá-la a nosso favor. Ele deu o exemplo do canal que ele está a criar e diz que daqui a 2 meses irão criar uma nova conexão com um novo servidor, e ele deu o exemplo de agora conteúdos da Etiópia estarem a passar nos Estados Unidos, porque já há essa tecnologia de legendagem, e muito em breve haverá mais línguas e mais países que serão abrangidos por esta conexão e por este servidor. Mais ou menos 2 meses.
Estamos todos aqui a falar de criar, né? Criar.
So we are basically talking about creating content. Yeah, creating what has not yet been created.
And sharing our content with each other. The first step towards healing any mental distress is to first recognize the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And once you recognize the problem, really go after the cure. And the cure is giving respect to our culture, wherever it has arisen, and to give the respect to our ancestors. And we can do that through the media.
Então não é só criar, é também partilhar. E um dos primeiros passos em direção à cura, em direção à saúde mental, é o reconhecimento do problema. E reconhecendo esse problema e falando sobre ele, mais facilmente chegamos a esse objetivo de cura.
Obrigado.
Muito bem. Passamos para mais perguntas. Lúcia, nós temos perguntas no chat, no YouTube, consegues aceder?
Yeah, temos sim. Mr. Tim, we want to be respectful of your time. I don't know how much time you have. We have a few more questions if you have time.
I'll take them.
Ok.
Mais algumas perguntas?
Tem uma pergunta aqui no chat. A Ariana fez a pergunta. Ariana, gostavas de falar para a tradução, por favor?
Olá, boa tarde a todos. Basicamente, acho que a pergunta vem de acordo com o que foi da primeira pergunta, não é? Que era de que forma é que o time vê a participação dos artistas angolanos na plataforma que ele criou e de que forma eles poderão contribuir e beneficiar. Mas eu penso que de alguma forma já foi respondida a pergunta, não sei se são da mesma opinião, mas era essa a questão.
Qual era a pergunta?
De que forma é que ele vê a participação dos artistas angolanos na plataforma que ele criou e de que forma os angolanos poderão contribuir e beneficiar?
Ok. Obrigada.
So the question was connected to the first question that was placed. She's asking how you see the Angolans' participation here at your platform. And in what way, como é que era? De que forma? Peço desculpas, esqueci-me da segunda parte. In what way we Angolans can beneficiate and contribute to your platform?
My hope is to have a platform connection with countries such as Angola, where your content, your stories that are being told now will have a place on our platform, and you will make a place on your platform for our stories to be chosen. And through LGCY TV, Legacy of a People, it would just be what you already have in existence. You just open up your platform and allow our content to go there, and we'll do the same here, so that on our audiences, they'll be able to see content from Angola in your language with subtitles. And it really it doesn't cost any more to do what we're already doing. You're already creating content. Just a matter of having it subtitled and having a platform here in this hemisphere that will cover the millions of people who want to know more about what's going on in your lovely country.
Ok, basicamente trata-se de intercâmbio. Os conteúdos deles nós recebemos e passamos, os nossos conteúdos eles recebem e passam, com o foco aqui sempre na legendagem. Portanto, os conteúdos que forem trocados serão legendados nas línguas correspondentes e ele repete e diz que é importante repetir isso. Tudo aquilo de que necessitamos já temos, portanto, porque os conteúdos já estão a ser criados, as coisas já estão a acontecer, basicamente só é necessário haver uma maior conexão entre esses criadores de conteúdo e esses distribuidores. Portanto, a plataforma já existe, as plataformas já existem, é só uma questão de criar esse intercâmbio entre as culturas.
Se não há mais perguntas, Lúcia, não há mais perguntas no YouTube? Há mais alguma aqui para fecharmos este painel?
Any more questions?
Eu só gostava de acrescentar aqui, talvez numa perspectiva mais da organização, nós convidamos para este workshop Telas, que é uma plataforma de streaming em Angola. Infelizmente o seu representante não está aqui hoje, mas nós, de propósito, nós fizemos começamos a criar esse esqueleto para fazer esta conexão desta forma. Mr. Tim Reed, we had invited Telas, is also a streaming channel, an Angolan streaming channel, to be part of this workshop, but unfortunately they were not able to come. The founder and CEO is receiving a baby in Europe. So, but we hope to continue the conversation because we have the resources, we have the basis. We just need to activate it and to continue to build on what we already have. So that was
Yeah, and we must remember, you're already doing that. You use YouTube. You can find just about any content from anywhere in the world on YouTube. That's the system's medium. We need our own connect center. And that's what we hope to create with LGCY TV. It's just think of it as a Black YouTube.
Basicamente, ele diz que nós já fazemos isso, nós utilizamos o YouTube, portanto, a única diferença é que o YouTube pertence ao sistema. Então, resumindo, o que nós temos de fazer é criar o nosso próprio YouTube, e ele diz que isso, de uma maneira ou de outra, já existe com o canal do qual ele tem feito referência. É só uma questão de crescer, mais um bocado.
Muito bem, acho que sim, vamos finalizar este painel para deixar Tim Reed e Frank Shines continuarem com os seus compromissos. Quero dizer muito obrigada pela vossa participação, estamos muito felizes, vamos manifestar agora com aplauso e queremos continuar essa conexão.
Obrigado. Thank you.
Muito bem. Nós vamos continuar, vamos passar para o próximo painel. Temos agora neste painel uma apresentação. Pedro, vamos passar em apresentação um bocado da trajetória do Cedric e um bocado da trajetória também do Jamie Morgan Brown. Estão-me a pedir aqui um segundo apenas. Acho que ela vai. Lúcia, vais exibi-los tu a partir daí, não vais?
Bom, eu posso, se o Pedro...
Boa. Nós preferimos aqui. Vai ser melhor. Se fores tu a exibir, vamos começar.
Está bem.
Oi?
Mas podemos tirar um minuto só para respirarmos, para passar para o próximo segmento.
Está bem, um minuto para beber uma água, para... Ninguém estava a respirar até
just
agora.
Before we move on to the next panel, which is with you.
Nós temos aqui um artista musical também, temos aqui muitos artistas, temos um artista musical que também gostávamos de ouvir uma musiquinha enquanto estamos neste minuto de pausa. Já não vai ser obviamente.
Okay, so while we're on our break, we're going to listen to this.
Rabi.
Okay.
Vai nos brindar com música.
So there's a musical moment.
Vai ser agora, Rabi. Nós voltamos em alguns minutos. Senhoras e senhores, com vocês, Gabi. Ok.
Senhor meu Deus, quão és maravilhado, fico a pensar nas obras de tuas mãos. O céu azul de estrelas pontilhados, o seu poder, mostrando a criação. Então me ama, então me ama, canta-te, Senhor. Oh, 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 quão grande és tu, oh, 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 quão grande. Então me ama, yeah, yeah. Pra ti, canta-te, Senhor, yeah, yeah. Quão grande és tu, daí. Então me ama, yeah. Ama, canta-te, Senhor. Oh, 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 quão grande és tu, quão grande. Glória, glória, aleluia, yeah. Glória, glória, aleluia. Glória, glória, aleluia. Vencendo, vem. Tudo entregarei. Tudo entregarei. Yeah. Sim, por ti, Jesus, bendito tu obrigado, Senhor, aleluia. Obrigado, Senhor, aleluia. Yeah, yeah. Obrigado, Senhor. Yeah, yeah. Aleluia. 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 Oh, oh. Thank you, Jesus, my Lord. Hallelujah. Oh, oh. Thank you, Jesus, my Lord. Hallelujah. Oh, oh. Thank you, Jesus, my Lord. Hallelujah. 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 Obrigado.
Rabi! Obrigada, Rabi. Quero só dizer que nós fazemos sempre isso aqui na OSAI. Todos os fóruns científicos, todos os eventos OSAI começam com uma oração. E esta é uma ação de graças, é um agradecimento, né? Para todos.
Okay, so here at OSAI, all events start with a prayer. And this was one of those moments, praying moments. Isto é uma... Okay, so this was it's to give thanks. It's a song to give thanks to the Lord.
Vamos continuar, já estamos todos mais fresquinhos para essa segunda parte. Vamos passar então um extrato, um trailer dos últimos trabalhos que o Cedric tem feito. For the Love of Money é um filme de 2022.
Okay, so now we'll move on to watch a trailer from one of Cedric's movies, which is called
For the Love of Money.
For the Love of Money, por amor ao dinheiro.
2022, para apresentar este ator que está aqui conosco, que veio de Hollywood, eu gosto de gozar, que é de Hollywood para Angoliwood.
Yeah, mesmo. So from Hollywood to Angoliud.
Como eu e a Lúcia gostamos de chamar. Vamos conhecer melhor o trabalho de Cedric Pendleton.
So let's get to know Cedric's work a little bit better.
Lúcia, pões tu? Põe o Pedro?
Two more
Não, tá aí.
seconds. It takes a little bit from
Okay.
Atlanta to Luanda.
Uhum. Uma viagem.
But I think
Atlanta para lá.
Pedro got it now. Eu acho que o Pedro já tem na tela.
Partilhar a tela então.
Eu posso
Para vermos
talvez
o-
partilhar, não sei se vocês vão ouvir, mas eu posso partilhar aqui.
Nós queremos ouvir.
Yeah, vou só ver.
O som nos trailers é fundamental. Ok, vamos passar então a partilhar um bocado do trabalho do Cedric Pendleton, que está aqui connosco. Quero-vos lembrar que nós estamos em campanha, aliás, hoje é o nosso último dia de campanha. Pois,
Remind you guys, this is the last day of the campaign.
Que começou, na verdade, no dia 16. Era para ter começado no dia 17, mas nós começamos no dia 16 no Cine Geração com a exibição do filme Moça.
That started on the 16th. It was supposed to have started on the 17th, but it started on the 16th with the exhibition of the movie Moça at Geração 80, Cine Geração.
Yeah. Todos que estão aqui fazem parte deste movimento, todos juntos pela saúde mental. Já tivemos a gala que foi maravilhosa. Quem concorda?
So she's asking who has been at the gala. She's saying that it was an amazing gala. So whoever agrees, breathe. Take a breath.
Take a breath. Estamos prontos então? Também quero lembrar a todos os presentes que as doações estão abertas, apesar do workshop estar a ser disponibilizado gratuitamente. Vocês sabem que geralmente os workshops são pagos. A Associação está a fazer essa ponte, né, entre os Estados Unidos da América e Angola, mas isto aqui é uma associação sem fins lucrativos, temos doações abertas para a causa, estão à vontade para contribuir com o valor que se sentirem confortáveis.
So, just a reminder that even though this workshop is free, usually it's not the case because this is a non-profit organization. So she's just reminding everyone that we're open to donations, whichever the amount you feel comfortable with. They all will be welcome. So
para a causa.
Give away.
Muito bem.
For a good cause.
Se já estivermos prontos para compartilhar, vamos então assistir.
Eu estava a partilhar, mas só que vocês não conseguiam ouvir o som.
Não, estamos a tentar de outra forma. A ideia é sempre superar os obstáculos. Agora ouvimos? Será?
Não, o Pedro agora ele vai tentar passar para termos o som e a legenda.
Vamos adicionar também a legenda.
E só queria acrescentar no que
já temos som, Lúcia.
Falar. Sim, quando eu partilho não dá som. Quando
ok, por causa da diferença.
Deve ser o Pedro a partilhar.
Estamos prontos? No play.
E digo, eu ia só partilhar o sign.ao/OneHeart/ é onde as pessoas podem ir e fazer as suas doações.
Ok, vamos disponibilizar. Já tínhamos começado. Vamos começar o trailer? Tu estás a ver daí, Lúcia? Vocês estão a ver ou não?
Não.
Não, é por isso que não sabias que já tínhamos começado. Que estranho. Porque será que
eu
não?
tenho que partilhar.
Tu tens que partilhar a tela, Pedro. Assim só nós é que vemos. Ok? Agora já vão ver.
E a legenda também, por favor.
Pronto.
Agora já vem? Agora já vemos.
Ok, vamos assistir ao trailer então?
Give that. It's best for you. That's just tuition and help. I'm saying that we cannot afford to be associated with whatever kind of nonsense you got going on.
Bad day.
Sometimes somebody you have to do what you have to do. I get you about medicine now, so if you don't know nobody else don't feel it's wrong. Can't let those moments define you.
She's being charged with assault.
My daughter was assaulted by cops.
That's what costs us about 50,000 a day.
I was running on all my transactions.
You had to make it higher than
Each of them.
You're about 15 minutes away from the best one of your full operation.
I'm supposed to trust you with $2 million of my money.
Yeah. It's time to go to work.
every day turn around and do.
10% commission, 64 weeks.
Thank you for your kind generosity.
Only make one deposit per account. So $100.
It ain't gonna be things, but
We don't want to arouse any suspicion. They'll never been on the fence.
we have an issue. This is be so, you want to work, Jesus, everything will be fine.
I've never understand Jesus.
What's better than being tough? Is being prepared.
You were a legal prostitution. What is that with? I'm not going to be too many more bitches tonight.
No, let me catch you.
Just tell me what's going on.
I respect your love. You are fully right. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
We are family.
You gonna be a boss ass bitch, or you gonna be a banging ass bitch, but you can't be both. It's time to take out the trash.
For the love of money. Para nós seria por amor ao dinheiro. Isto foi para apresentar Cedric Pendleton, que claro, agora tem que dizer algumas palavras, Cedric. Já tem estado a falar sobre essa experiência aqui. Em inglês, né?
So we'll now listen to Cedric, and please tell us about your experience.
About my
You'll tell us about your experience
with the movie?
with the movie.
Cinema and then being here.
I've been in entertainment for a little over 35 years.
Estou no ramo do entretenimento há pouco mais de 35 anos.
On that particular movie, I started out as an actor, but ended up as executive producer.
Portanto, neste filme em particular, começou como ator e depois terminou como produtor executivo.
I was responsible for distribution and marketing for that particular movie.
Okay. Era responsável pelo marketing e distribuição deste filme.
We start shooting the prequel to that movie on January 4th.
This year?
This year.
Ok, portanto...
This coming year.
Ok.
2023. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Ok, começaram a filmar a prequel do filme em janeiro, January 4th?
January 4th, this coming January 4th.
Ok, 4 de janeiro.
The budget on that movie was $3.5 million.
O orçamento para o filme foi de 3,5 milhões de dólares.
The next one is slated to be $2 million.
O próximo será de 2 milhões de dólares. Is it a saga? Like a...
It's what we call a prequel. In other words, what happened before that.
É uma prequela, que não existe bem em português, mas portanto, este foi o filme inicial, o próximo será o que aconteceu antes deste filme. Começa assim. Yeah.
So the goal is to create a brand, sort of like the Fast and the Furious.
Ok. O objetivo é criar como a marca tipo Fast and Furious. como é que é? Velocidade furiosa, né? Velocidade furiosa, né? E assim.
Yeah. So that's coming up quickly. Matter of fact, my phone is ringing now about problems in the US concerning the production, but I'm in Angola, so they have to figure it out.
Portanto, ele neste momento está aqui, mas o telefone não para de tocar porque estão a surgir várias questões e vários problemas relativos ao filme nos Estados Unidos, mas pronto, ele diz que vão ter de se safar porque ele agora está aqui. Pronto.
So the first night that I got here, or the first night of that we were at
The movie?
yeah, that we were at
Geração
the
80.
opening movie thing, I said that there are stories in Angola that basically we need to control the distribution mechanism, and the thing that does that is money.
Ele disse que desde a primeira noite, onde vimos o filme lá na geração 80, que ele disse há histórias a ser contadas cá em Angola, cuja distribuição nós temos de controlar e para isso é necessário dinheiro.
Jamie and I have had the fortune of discovering 3 stories in Angola that we want to tell.
Okay. Ele e o Jamie tiveram a sorte de encontrar 3 histórias cá em Angola que eles querem contar posteriormente.
And hopefully we find the money in Angola.
E com sorte vão encontrar o dinheiro para isso ainda aqui em Angola.
Because those stories have the ability to be sold to the rest of the world and controlled by Angolans.
Porque essas histórias têm a capacidade de ser contadas no resto do mundo e de ser controladas pelos próprios angolanos.
And that's the key.
E é essa a chave.
So that we're controlling how we see each other from the beginning to the end.
Temos de controlar como nos vemos uns aos outros, desde o princípio até ao fim.
So it's the control of money that gives us the capability of telling the stories.
É o controle das finanças, do dinheiro, que nos dá essa capacidade de contar as nossas histórias.
I'll share this with you. We had a preliminary meeting on yesterday with the head of Toyota. Concerning being involved in one of those stories.
Eles tiveram uma reunião ontem com o presidente da Toyota relativamente a essa questão de contar e de controlar as nossas histórias. Sorry.
So again, the goal is to tell stories out of Angola that basically give Angolians pride. Give them a sense of culture, give them a sense of who they can become.
Portanto, o objetivo, ele reforça, é esse: contar as histórias de Angola fora de Angola, mas dar aos angolanos esse sentido de orgulho, de pride,
Pride, so the children have a sense of pride.
Yes, and you said also.
Can see who they can become.
E para que as crianças possam ver aquilo no qual se podem tornar.
And to sell that to the rest of the world.
E vender isso ao resto do mundo.
Because the world views Angola and Africa one way, but we know the truth.
Porque o mundo vê Angola e os africanos de um certo modo, mas nós sabemos a verdade.
Because I've been here. I see it for myself.
Que eu já estive cá, eu estou aqui, portanto eu vejo com os meus próprios olhos.
At the gala, it was some of the best talent I've seen ever.
Mas um dos maiores talentos que ele já viu na gala, ele viu na gala, ele pôde ver alguns dos maiores talentos que ele já viu.
Thank you.
Obrigada. Thank you.
Uau, muito bem, boa. Estamos a construir. Vamos continuar a construir, como tu dizes, não é, Lúcia? E também já a nossa frase aqui da Alçai.
One of Alçai's mottos is "We're building",
que foi a Lúcia criou. E é interessante ver como as coisas se juntam. E quando nós falamos de prosperidade financeira, começamos a entender a importância. À medida que nós vamos crescendo, percebemos a importância de prosperar financeiramente.
As we grow, we realize the importance of also growing financially. So,
E mesmo que ainda não estejamos já no topo dessa montanha, já começamos a puxar uns aos outros e a fazer com que as pessoas que têm um talento cresçam realmente.
and even though we're not yet at the top of the mountain, we are developing the ability of pulling one another.
E na gala nós fizemos isso. Alguns dos talentos que tu viste foram exatamente essa energia que nós trocamos, foi esse puxar que nós fizemos.
And the gala is one example, a good example of that. The talents that they are pulling. So, yeah.
Para o mundo poder ver.
We're building.
Vamos então passar ao próximo keynote speaker, ao orador principal, Jamie Morgan Brown. Estou a paragem para tu falar.
So, Jamie, we're now.
Eu vou trocar com ele, que é para ele ficar visível aqui para o Zoom.
Can you switch with her so that you can be visible?
Não, it's okay. Está tudo bem. Está bem. E dar-lhe o microfone, Jamie, para também se apresentar e falar um bocado sobre si, sobre tudo que já fez.
So please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've done up until now.
Absolutely. My mic on? Is it hot?
Yeah, it's on.
Yes. Wow. First, I want to say just thank you for even giving me this opportunity to come to this beautiful country to express myself.
Obrigada pela oportunidade de estar neste lindo país e para podermos expressar.
My background is a little different because I came to Hollywood in the late 70s.
Portanto, o background dele é um bocado diferente porque ele chegou a Hollywood nos anos 70.
And I had all aspirations to becoming this Hollywood actor.
Ele tinha estes sonhos de ser um grande ator de Hollywood.
And I traveled to Hollywood from Jersey City and I was disillusioned.
Não. Estou à espera que ele continue só para... You can continue.
Yes, I was disillusioned, and listening to Tim Reed, he just hit so many points with me because I was hired for a television network called the Black Family Channel.
Assim que chegou, foi contratado para um canal de televisão called the
Black Family Channel.
The Black Family Channel, portanto, o canal da família negra.
Absolutely. It was owned by one of the wealthiest attorneys in the world, Willie Gary.
Ok, que era um canal tido por um dos advogados mais ricos na altura.
And the other owners were Marlon Jackson from the famous Jackson 5 family, Evander Holyfield, Cecil Fielder, who is a Hall of Fame baseball player for the New York Yankees. My mic is not hot.
No, it is,
Okay.
but there's some background noise, so I'm trying to focus.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, and interestingly enough, when this network came into being, we said, wow, we finally hit it. We have a Black TV network.
Quando surgiu o canal, eles acharam, bem, chegámos lá, finalmente um canal de negros, de e para negros.
And there was no way this all Black family network was going to fail because it had multi-millionaires financing this company.
E não havia hipótese de falhar porque havia multimilionários por detrás do canal, portanto, falhar não era uma hipótese.
And every weekend, the chief executive officer, Willie Gary, who was the major financier, we would have our production meetings and our staff meetings, and he would complain every Friday about money.
E todos os fins de semana, quando faziam as reuniões, o CEO reclamava de dinheiro.
And we didn't understand
E
it.
percebiam porquê.
Why is this multi-billionaire complaining about money to run this TV show?
Mas este bilionário está a reclamar de dinheiro, porquê?
Plus having the support of all of these other famous millionaires from the Jackson 5 and Cecil Fielder from the New York Yankees, we couldn't understand why every weekend there was always a meeting about money, the lack of money, the lack of money.
Eles nunca, além do dono ser multimilionário, os parceiros também eram multimilionários, então ele não percebia o porquê de todos os fins de semana ele estar a reclamar da falta de dinheiro.
He even hired a famous celebrity from Hollywood by the name of Robert Townsend to come in and be the president of this network.
To be the president of the network.
Robert
Okay.
Townsend became the president of the network, yes.
Ok, portanto ele convidou Robert Townsend para ser o presidente do canal, eventualmente.
So now we knew we were going to do good now, because now we have a famous actor who is now the president of this TV show. No way we can fail.
Portanto, agora mesmo é que não podiam falhar. Dinheiro, um ator famoso como presidente, não havia hipóteses de falhar.
And guess what?
And guess what?
We failed.
Adivinhem, falhámos.
So after a long period of time, we realized why this network failed.
Depois de algum tempo a percebermos do porquê de ter falhado.
Money doesn't make a network move or fail or succeed. It's knowing how to run a network.
Portanto, não é o dinheiro que faz com que um canal tenha sucesso ou falhe, é saber gerir esse canal.
See, Willie Gary is a famous attorney. He don't know how to run a network.
Um advogado, ele era advogado, ele não sabia como gerir um canal.
Robert Townsend is a famous actor. He don't know how to run a network.
O Robert era um ator, também não sabia como gerir um canal.
Jackson is from a celebrity musical family. He don't know how to run a network.
O Jackson era um músico, também não sabia como gerir um canal.
So it was about not just having the money, it's having the knowledge to run a successful network.
Portanto, não é sobre ter dinheiro, é sobre ter conhecimento sobre gestão.
So it took millions and millions of dollars to be lost to learn that valuable lesson.
Foi preciso perderem-se milhões e milhões de dólares para aprender essa lição.
And I was a little disappointed because I wrote 2 shows that won 2 Emmys for the network. So I just knew that that was going to make my writing skills, popular. But the network went away and so did my Emmys.
E eu fiquei desiludido porque escrevi 2 shows que ganharam 2 Emmys e pronto, com a perda do canal, lá se foram os meus Emmys também.
So then, in Hollywood, going back, I said, boy, I want to be a Hollywood actor. I couldn't wait to get to Hollywood and audition and get an agent. So I went to college.
Tudo o que ele queria era ser ator de Hollywood. Queria ir a audições e então foi para a faculdade.
And I went to a pretty prestigious college called UCLA, the University of California, Los Angeles, and I was in the drama department.
Então, uma universidade prestigiada, o UCLA, que é de Califórnia e Los Angeles.
And I remember the department bringing in famous Black actors at that time. They brought in Bill Cosby.
Oh, nice.
They brought in The Color Purple. The man.
Oh, não é Jim, como é que é?
From The Color Purple.
Yes, I know.
Danny Glover.
Yeah.
And so
o departamento convidou vários atores negros famosos para darem palestras, entre eles o Bill Cosby e o Jim Glover.
And so I remember the students asking Bill Cosby, what does it take to be an actor? Now that we're finished college, should we go get an agent? Should we go get a manager? We were so excited.
Então os alunos estavam mesmo muito entusiasmados e perguntavam ao Bill Cosby o que é necessário para ser ator. Assim que acabarmos, vamos logo ligar aos agentes, aos managers, pronto.
So he said something that was so profound that I'll never forget. He said, when you decide that you want to be in this business, when you decide that you want to be an actor, the first thing you have to do is not get an agent, not get a manager. The first thing you have to do is find a way to stay in this business.
E ele disse que a resposta dele foi muito profunda. Ele disse: a primeira coisa que se vocês que realmente quiserem ser atores, a primeira coisa que têm de fazer não é arranjar agentes, e sim arranjar uma forma de se manterem nesta área de entretenimento, portanto, de continuarem atores.
So here I am back on my road. I want to be a Hollywood actor.
E eu continuava, eu quero ser um ator de Hollywood. Who didn't?
So I remember seeing these big actors today. I remember going to auditions, and the first time I was disenchanted about being an actor. I was going up for a big TV show, and I was excited. And so I get the script, and so the casting director says, read. So I read. And then she says, no, Jamie, that's not what I'm looking for. And I didn't understand, what was she looking for?
A primeira vez que ele se deparou com a desilusão nesse mundo ele foi a uma audição, deram-lhe um guião e disseram, lê. E ele leu. E a diretora de casting disse, não é o que eu estou à procura.
And then she got so frustrated with me. This is what she said.
E ela estava extremamente frustrada e disse,
and I quote, no, Jamie, read it more like a nigger. Oh, I mean, read it more like more black.
Ela disse-lhe, lê mais a preto. Peço desculpas, como um negro.
So that was the beginning of my demise. That's when I realized that something is not quite right, but it didn't break me. I still wanted to be a Hollywood actor.
Basicamente, foi aí que começou o seu desencanto. Ficou bastante desiludido, mas mesmo assim continuava a querer ser um ator de Hollywood.
So here I am, I'm off. So I go to New York for a show that was very popular called The Cosby Show.
Então foi para Nova York, participou no The Cosby Show.
And they had hired an actress. Well, she was actually a model. And she was going to come on to be one of the children of the Cosbys. So I was going to read to be her boyfriend.
Tinham contratado uma atriz, na verdade uma modelo, para ser uma das filhas do Cosby e ele seria o namorado da filha.
And so she couldn't read, so they fired her. So that means they fired me.
Portanto, como ela não conseguia ler, despediram-na e consequentemente despediram-no a ele também.
I was a little down, but guess what?
Ficou em baixo, mas
I still wanted to be a Hollywood actor. And so I remember going to an audition for another pretty big role. And I started reading, and the casting director said, I read it. She said, that was good. She said, can you read it another way?
Again?
Well, you know, when they ask, can you read it another way? They want to see the range. They want to see a range as an actor. Sid can talk more about that. They want to see your range as an actor. They like what you did, but I want to see how deep you can go as an actor. So she asked me to read it again.
Portanto, ele foi a uma outra audição, leu um texto, um guião, e pediram-lhe que lesse de novo, mas de outra forma, que é uma coisa normal que costumam pedir aos atores.
So I guess she was looking for a particular emotion because she said this to me. She said, Jamie, imagine your grandmother in a casket.
Portanto, ela queria um outro tipo de emoção e disse, imagina a tua avó num caixão.
And that really disturbed me again because I'm thinking that acting should be about the art. And when I have to create images like that, and I guess I was sort of like young, I just wasn't ready for it. That was the beginning of me saying, I don't think I want to be an actor anymore.
Foi aí que ele começou a achar que já não queria ser ator, porque ele achava que representar era sobre a arte e como também era muito novo, ele não achava que esse tipo de abordagem era correta, e então começou a perder um bocado o encanto e a pensar que se calhar já não quer ser ator.
Yeah, so I said, you know, I don't think this acting thing is going to work for me, so let me try something else. And it's interesting because in Hollywood, or Hollyweird, as some people may refer to,
yes,
you get to, Sid will tell you, you know, these movie stars, we know them because Hollywood is a very small club of Black people, the ones who have become celebrities and so on and so forth. So I've seen them grow. I've seen Eddie Murphy grow. I've seen a lot of people just grow from day to day.
Dentro desse mundo de Hollywood, os negros famosos são um grupo muito restrito, então eles conhecem-se todos entre eles, e ele diz que conhece pessoalmente quase todos, inclusive o Eddie Murphy.
And then I saw a pattern. I saw the celebrities, if you want to call them celebrities, I saw the ones that were making the money, they all had something in common.
Ele começou a perceber-se de um padrão. Todas as celebridades que estavam a fazer dinheiro respeitavam um padrão.
They all put on dresses.
Todos usavam vestidos. So you mean cross-dressing?
Well, when I look at the black actors that are successful, they all wore dresses.
Pois é. Portanto, todos eles se travestiram de alguma maneira.
They all wore dresses. I don't wear dresses. I'm a man.
Vestidos. E ele diz, eu não vou vestir um vestido, eu sou um homem.
Dresses.
Eu não visto vestidos.
So then I noticed something else.
Depois reparei noutra coisa.
That they all had white women or white wives.
E todos eles eram casados com mulheres brancas.
So then I really finalized that there's an image issue in Hollywood.
Portanto, ele percebeu que há um problema de autoimagem em Hollywood.
And you can't blame the people up at the top, because their thing is, if I'm paying you, then you do what I tell you to do, boy.
Exactly. Então, nós não podemos culpar quem manda, porque eles, a mentalidade deles é, se eu te estou a pagar, tens de fazer o que eu digo.
So when I look at the overall picture of the industry, there's another pattern. Sorry.
Então, quando eu faço uma observação do cômputo geral da indústria, há um outro padrão.
The plan is very simple. It's called divide and conquer.
O plano é sempre dividir para conquistar.
And so the black men, the black women in this business, we've been divided. There's a saying, no black man, no black family. And the black family has been destroyed.
Houve uma destruição da família negra, porque não há homens negros e não há família negra. Portanto, o plano é mesmo esse, dividir a comunidade negra para conquistar.
So if you take the father out of the house, now you're leaving the son to raise the family, but he has no skills or no knowledge on how to raise a family.
Se tirarmos o pai da equação da família, o filho é que vai ter de liderar essa família. E o filho não tem nenhuma capacidade de gestão de família, de liderança, portanto...
So what is the number one thing we need to survive? Money. So you offer these young black boys money and they will become our billion-dollar slaves.
Portanto, se precisamos de dinheiro para sobreviver e dá-se dinheiro a esses jovens, vão tornar-se escravos bilionários, basicamente.
And even in athletics, you know, the NBA, Major League Baseball, all of these things make up 80% black athletes.
Yeah.
And these are all multi-millionaires, you understand?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have given up their soul for money.
Então, mesmo quando fazemos uma análise dentro daquilo que é o atletismo, estrelas do basquete, por exemplo, a maior parte das estrelas de basquete são indivíduos negros. São multimilionários, bilionários, mas venderam a alma, perderam a alma.
Absolutely. So you tell a young black boy without a father, you pay him $1 million, he'll do anything you ask him to do.
Se dissermos a um jovem, qualquer jovem, sem um pai, sem uma figura paternal, vou-te dar milhões de dólares, ele automaticamente vende a alma.
So we go back to stories. And when you deal with stories, you have to deal with characters. And when you deal with characters, you have to deal with images. And if we don't own our image, then somebody owns you.
Então, quando falamos de histórias, falamos de personagens. Quando falamos de personagens, falamos de imagem. E se não detemos, não somos detentores da nossa própria imagem, pronto, tudo corre mal.
So today, when we deal with images, Marcus Garvey said, a people without knowledge of self is like a tree without roots.
Povo sem o conceito da autoimagem é como uma árvore sem raízes.
So it's not about the money. It's about the respect for your culture.
Não é sobre dinheiro, é sobre o respeito pela cultura.
It's about owning your own image.
Ser detentor da própria imagem.
It's about writing your own stories.
Escrever as nossas próprias histórias.
It's about loving. The only way you can help Black people is to love them first.
A única forma de ajudar os negros é amá-los antes de tudo.
So we have to go back to basics.
Temos de voltar à base.
We have to go back to ownership.
Temos de voltar à propriedade, os direitos de propriedade.
And so these are the ways that white Hollywood has been able to control us.
É desta forma que a Hollywood branca nos tem controlado.
So, after that, I think I was chosen because I've had a wonderful career just consulting. I've produced for Oprah Winfrey. I've produced for Michael Jackson. I produced for Chris Tucker. I produced for Eddie Murphy. I've worked with Eddie for years. I worked with so many people over the years.
Ele diz que foi escolhido, ele acha que foi escolhido porque teve uma carreira fantástica, produziu para essas pessoas todas que ouviram Oprah, Eddie Murphy, etc.
And, I've become very close with a few celebrities.
Tornei-me próximo de várias celebridades, de algumas celebridades, peço desculpa.
They would ask me questions about their scripts.
Faziam perguntas sobre os seus guiões.
Like, how do I like the script? What do I think of the story?
O que é que achas da história, do enredo? O que é que achas do guião?
And I'm very honest.
Eu sou muito honesto.
When it comes to Black people.
No que toca à comunidade negra.
Because we're too often exploited in this business.
Porque somos muitas vezes explorados nesta indústria.
At the end of the day, the only way that we can make a dent in this business is to go back to ownership.
A única forma de termos algum impacto nesta indústria é voltar aos direitos de propriedade, sermos proprietários.
And in Hollywood, we have to get to a point where, look, we've got to stop making these slave movies.
Slave movies.
These 40 years a slave, The Butler.
Temos de parar com os filmes de escravos, 40 anos de escravos.
We got to stop.
Temos de parar.
Okay, because we have so many brilliant stories.
Temos mais histórias brilhantes.
Black people, we set the tone for the world.
Nós é que lançamos o mote para o mundo. Nós negros é que lançamos o mote para o mundo.
Whether it's fashion, sports, acting, we set
moda,
the tone.
desporto, cinema, nós é que lançamos o mote.
Not only that, we're the first in science, we're the first in math, we're the first in philosophy, not just sports and entertainment. Every discipline on the planet, we are the mothers and fathers of it.
Nós somos as mães e os pais de quase todas as disciplinas, todas as áreas no planeta. Não é só entretenimento. Não só no entretenimento, ciências, matemáticas, etc. Sim.
So at the end of the day, we have to look ourselves in the mirror.
Temos de nos olhar no espelho
and love ourselves.
E amar-nos a nós próprios.
And Michael Jackson said it the best. I'm talking about the man in the mirror.
Como disse o Michael Jackson, estou a falar para o homem no espelho.
So
Portanto,
change
reflexo.
starts with us.
A mudança começa dentro de nós.
And we have to have a roadmap. The first part of the roadmap is to love ourselves, to own our own stories, to write our own stories, to hire our own people, to build our own studio, to distribute our own movies, to make our own movies, and be this great nation.
Ok, então há um mapa. E a primeira paragem nesse mapa, basicamente, é contar-nos as nossas próprias histórias, de termos os nossos próprios direitos, produzirmos o nosso próprio conteúdo, owning our own movies,
Yes, because
sermos detentores dos nossos próprios filmes.
and we cannot be a slave to money.
E não podemos ser escravos do dinheiro.
Obrigado.
Esta foi a preleção do Jamie Morgan Brown. Ele está a falar sobre a mudança de narrativa, por isso é que fechou com este tema, que a mudança começa conosco.
So, just a reminder that change starts from within. And so Jamie was talking about the shift in the narrative, and this shift starts with a change within.
Estamos a chegar ao fim.
So we're reaching towards the end of this workshop.
Temos uma recomendação. Temos aqui atores que participaram num filme que nós temos muito orgulho, que está a rodar o mundo.
So we have uma recomendação. We have a recommendation here. We have actors here present that participated in a movie that's going worldwide.
Nomeadamente Fernando Mailoge, levanta a mão, levanta. Lelis Tvekamba, às vezes sai mal. Eliane Silva. Tá bem, pronto. Eliane Silva deu
participate in the movie, but she just
e fez a recomendação. Quem mais, Lelis? Não está mais ninguém aqui, né? E é uma longa-metragem. Aquele que nós vimos no início era uma curta.
Qual no início?
No Cine Geração. O filme que nós vimos no início da campanha.
Okay. So the first movie we saw, Moça, there at Cine Geração, was a short one, and this is a long one. Yeah, a movie.
O trailer dá para partilhar. Conseguimos, isso é improviso agora, não está nada marcado. Lúcia, eu sei que tu fazes magia. Tenta ver o trailer Mananqueto no YouTube. Eu sei que está, e nós fechamos com este pedacinho. O Lelis vai te mandar para ser mais rápido.
We don't know yet if it's going
Just
to be
the trailer.
O Lelis enviou. Vai haver um espaço para perguntas e respostas agora, antes do trailer? Assim
Sim, enquanto esperamos isto, fazemos as perguntas e respostas. Sim, perfeito.
Okay, so while we wait for the trailer, there'll be a Q&R session. So
para o Jamie, então.
For Jamie.
Lucy's there.
She's there. She's listening to you.
You can't say directly.
I'm here, Mestre. I'm here. I'm right here. You know that? Yeah, he's
Ela está no meio de tudo, está sempre presente. O Jamie aqui sempre, I miss Lucia, I miss Lucia, I miss Lucia.
Oh, she's the Lucia from... This was Lucia.
A Lúcia da área de desenvolvimento da OSAN, ela está sempre por trás de tudo o que acontece. E às vezes está no backstage, então, there is Lúcia, para quem não conhece. Então vamos passar para as perguntas, né? Vamos ver se existe alguma aí no chat, no YouTube, ou vamos por aqui para a sala. Perguntas para Jamie Morgan Brown. Quem é o primeiro? O primeiro é sempre mais difícil. Atrizes, atores, produtores, Mailoge.
Certo. Olá, boa noite a todos. Fernando Mailoge é meu nome. Yes.
Jamie, it's for you, the question.
Yes. Sou Mailoge, ator, e eu tenho uma pergunta. Essa pergunta surgiu de acordo com a explanação que teve da experiência, a vivência na indústria americana.
So this question arises from your description of your experience in American industry, film industry.
E dentro dessa fase tu tiveste muito sobe 10, muitas quedas, muito momento em que não foram agradáveis para si e depois deparaste com situações em que tiveste que recuar após estaria a vender a tua integridade, a tua a tua pessoa e achaste melhor tu não seguir porque sabias que tu terias de vender a tua alma. O que é que lhe levou a colocar os pés no chão, a não vender a sua alma, independentemente do que lhe foi colocado como proposta, e assim manteste firme e seguiste a tua jornada de uma forma.
Posso?
Pode.
Desculpa.
How many questions?
Basically, the question is short. He was just explaining that you described the fact that you went through ups and downs, and basically you were not mesmerized by all of it, even though you wanted so badly to be a Hollywood actor. What made you not sell your soul? Because since you wanted so badly to be an Hollywood actor, and when you were presented with that opportunity, what kept you grounded? What made you?
Só para terminar.
He's not.
E onde é que buscavas sempre força para continuar a seguir em frente? O que motivava sempre a ir atrás dos teus sonhos como ator, como produtor e para ser aquilo que tu és hoje?
Okay, and where did you get your strength from to keep going and never giving up in all areas, as an actor, as a producer?
Sure. Wow, you know, this is going to sound very cliche.
Vai parecer clichê, mas
God.
Deus.
I know you want a long answer. But God.
Eu sei que vocês querem uma. Wait. No, I don't. Wait. Because she cannot see what's happening. Eu sei que vocês querem uma resposta longa, mas é isso, é Deus.
So that was first. The other thing was, you know, several of my friends are movie stars, and I see how they live.
A primeira razão é Deus e a segunda é alguns dos meus amigos são estrelas de cinema e eu consigo ver como é que elas vivem.
And I see how they have sold their soul to make money.
E eu vejo como venderam as suas almas para fazer dinheiro.
For me, when I go back, you know, I live with this. A people without a knowledge of self is like a tree without roots.
Ele repete a frase anterior do uma pessoa que não tem autoconhecimento é como uma árvore sem raízes.
So when I see, I'm going to say my friends because they're successful. When I see my friends, they have no knowledge of who they are.
Eu quando vejo os meus amigos, vejo que eles não têm nenhum conhecimento de quem são, na verdade.
They don't care if the role says bow down, boy, and eat this shit off the ground.
Ok. Eles... Então, eu traduzindo, ele diz, eles não querem saber se o papel que têm de fazer os impele a inclinarem-se para a frente, comer a bosta, vamos dizer a bosta, come a bosta que está aí, eles não se importam, eles não querem saber isso.
So for doing that, the difference is he did that and he bought a plane. I didn't do it and I bought an ice cream sandwich.
A diferença é, ok, ele fez isso, comprou um avião, eu não fiz isso, comprei uma sanduíche, pronto, é isso, é parecido.
So at some point you have to have pride, you have to have dignity.
Há certo ponto em que nós temos de ter orgulho, temos de ter dignidade.
And, you know, for me, I'm tired of being tired.
Estou cansado de estar cansado.
If you are going to be in this business for money and you are willing to do whatever, you'll get rich tomorrow.
Se tu estás nesta indústria por dinheiro, e se fazes qualquer coisa, ficas rico. Amanhã já estás rico, basicamente.
But if you look at the sacrifices of your ancestors,
Mas tu pensas nos sacrifícios dos nossos ancestrais,
if you believe in your culture, your history,
se acreditas na tua cultura e na tua história,
there's no goddamn way you would sell your soul for money.
nunca venderias a tua alma por dinheiro.
Next question.
Próxima pergunta.
Perguntas.
Perguntas.
Quero só vos lembrar que nós estamos a fazer. Começou, aqueceu, agora preparem-se. Temos mais perguntas, temos uma pergunta também do chat, já vamos ao Bigu, acho que aqueceu para todos. Eliana, o Lelis, acho que o Lelis só quer perguntar onde é que ele assina? Tell him. Mas vá. Traduz ali. Deixa-me ver. Tem pergunta da Ariana Firlanzan. Ariana Firlanzan is right there. Tem uma pergunta. E ela pergunta qual é o conselho que o Jamie deixa para todos os atores angolanos.
What's your advice for all Angolan actors?
It's from Ariana.
Great question. What's my advice for all Angolan?
Uma ótima pergunta.
Conseguem ouvir assim? Ou...
Tem que ter
Nós temos microfones aqui também. Tem que ter o microfone. Yeah.
Tem que ter. Não ouvimos mal.
I love that question. I love it so much, I'm going to repeat it.
Gosto tanto da pergunta que vou repeti-la.
What's my advice to all Angolan actors? My first advice is
Primeiro conselho,
to study your craft.
estudem a vossa arte.
Okay, I always said there's two types of actors. One actor just memorizes lines,
Há dois tipos de atores. Simplesmente memoriza.
and the other actor makes lines.
E o outro cria as suas frases, as suas falas, as suas falas.
Number two,
Número 2.
know who you are in this business and what business you're getting into.
Conhece-te a ti mesmo. Tens de saber quem és nesta indústria. Know who you are in this business and?
Because you can't get mad at the boss man for saying, put on a dress, nigga.
Não te podes chatear com o boss, com o patrão, por ele dizer veste vestido.
But if you know who you are, if you know that's the nature of this business,
E a natureza da indústria.
then it's up to you to play.
Então tens. Estão a ouvir? Eu acho que desliguei o microfone. Conseguem ouvir bem?
Ouvimos
okay.
bem.
Sorry. You can...
So for every Angolan actor going into this business,
Portanto, para qualquer ator angolano que esteja nesta indústria,
approach it with dignity and pride.
a abordagem é com dignidade e orgulho.
And when you get a script,
E quando recebes um guião,
ask yourself this very important question.
pergunta-te a ti mesmo coloca-te esta pergunta muito importante.
Is this story moving my people forward, or is this story holding my people back?
Esta história, a do guião, está a fazer com que o meu povo avance ou está a ser um obstáculo para o avanço do meu povo?
And then be an artist. An artist is about excellence.
Ser artista é sobre excelência.
Work hard on your craft.
Trabalha duro na tua arte.
Know the business, know the art of acting.
Tens de conhecer o negócio e a arte da representação.
It is one of the most noble professions that you can be a part of.
É das profissões mais nobres das quais podem fazer parte.
You can change the world by your story.
Podem mudar o mundo com a vossa história.
But make sure that your story is filled with love, integrity, honesty, transparency, clarity, all that good stuff.
Certifiquem-se que a vossa história está carregada de amor, transparência, honestidade.
Let the money, let the money not be a part of why you're in this business, and you'll do much better.
Não deixem que o dinheiro seja a vossa razão para estar nesta indústria, e assim serão melhores atores.
And most importantly, own your story.
E acima de tudo, sejam detentores da vossa própria história.
And if you do those things,
Se fizerem isso tudo,
if you live those principles,
se viverem sob esses princípios,
you will see Angola lead the world in film
verão que Angola liderará o mundo no que toca ao cinema
and in television and cinema.
e televisão. Portanto, é isso.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Nós aqui temos uma música em Kuduro. Translate, please.
There's
Só
a
começar a
song
gostar
here in Kuduro. Kuduro is a genre. Yeah,
Kuduro.
a genre here.
Que diz aqueceu, aqueceu.
Still, it's like things got heated.
It's getting hot, it's getting hot.
Heated over here.
É similar com...
It's on fire.
É similar com It's Getting Hotter. Ok.
Yeah. It's like the roof is on fire.
Então, temos mais perguntas.
More questions?
Bigu, ladies first? Yeah? Depois Bigu. Ok.
Olá, boa noite. Eliane Silva, prazer, atriz. A minha dúvida vai muito em contra a pergunta que a doutora Ariana fez. Visto que nós temos muitos jovens atores em Angola com o objetivo de alcançar em Hollywood.
Since we have a lot of young Angolan actors here, whose goal is to reach Hollywood,
que estão aqui na sala.
They're here, present.
Algum deles disposto a vender a alma, já que disse que vai ficar rico amanhã, aqui o nosso...
Some of them are willing to sell their souls.
Sou também. Tendo em conta a sua experiência e todos os obstáculos que o fizeram desistir pelo caminho, qual é o seu conselho para jovens atores como eles, que está disposto a vender a sua alma? Pode falar? Vou traduzir? Não? Qual é o seu conselho? Continua com esse pensamento de que, se estiver disposto a vender a sua alma, a deixar os seus princípios para chegar até lá, pode seguir. Se não, desaconselha ter Hollywood como um objetivo?
Ok. Mais ou menos. Basicamente, o que tu estás a... Se...
jovens atores angolanos têm por objetivo alcançar Hollywood, tendo em conta a sua vivência, desaconselha ou qual é o...
Okay. So, given your experience with Hollywood, to the young Angolan actors who want to become Hollywood actors, would you advise against it, even if they don't want to sell the shows? Would you advise against that goal of reaching Hollywood?
I want to make sure I understand your question. Are you saying to me that Angolan actors that aspire to be Hollywood actors, do I advise against it, even if they don't want to sell their souls?
Ele quer certificar-se. Tu estás a perguntar, os jovens angolanos que querem chegar a Hollywood, mesmo que não estejam dispostos a vender a alma, tu estás a perguntar se mesmo assim ele aconselha a não fazê-lo? Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
Very good. Thank you. You saved by the bell. Look at Cedric. He didn't sell his soul.
Vejam Cedric, ele não vendeu a sua alma.
You can succeed in anything you want in life. It's up to you to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? If you are willing to be a clown to make money, that's your choice. If you're willing to be an actor with integrity, that's your choice.
Podes fazer o que tu quiseres, é tudo uma questão de escolha. Se queres ser um palhaço ou uma palhaça por dinheiro, é uma escolha. Se queres ser um ator de verdade, é uma escolha.
Not every actor in Hollywood is a clown.
Nem todos os atores em Hollywood são palhaços.
There's some really great people in Hollywood.
Existem boas pessoas, excelentes pessoas em Hollywood.
It's just that we don't have any power because we don't own anything.
A questão é que não temos poder porque não detemos nada.
It all goes back to ownership. Let me just tell you this very important story.
Tudo remete à propriedade. Ele vai contar agora uma história.
In the 70s,
Nos anos 70,
the mid 70s, the mid 70s,
meados.
Cedric probably knows this story, might be too young, but Hollywood went on strike.
Houve uma greve em Hollywood.
And this is what happened. Very interesting.
Foi isso que aconteceu.
So the studio said, okay, well, Hollywood is going on strike. They want more money.
Os estúdios disseram, ok, há greve, então queremos mais dinheiro.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get non-union actors.
Então vamos arranjar atores que não pertençam ao sindicato.
And it didn't work.
Não funcionou, não deu certo.
Then they said, well, you know what? We're going to get non-union directors.
Então vamos arranjar realizadores que não pertencem ao sindicato.
And the industry kept moving, but it was barely moving, but it was moving.
Então aí a indústria começou a avançar, mas pouco. Avançou, mas pouco.
Then they said, we're going to get non-union producers and we're going to keep making movies.
Depois disseram, vamos arranjar produtores que não pertencem ao sindicato. Vamos continuar a fazer filmes.
And then something happened.
E então aconteceu.
They hired non-union writers and the industry shut down.
Então resolveram contratar guionistas que não pertenciam ao sindicato. E aí tudo parou.
The moral of the story is,
A moral da história?
everything starts with a script.
Tudo começa com o guião.
Everything starts with a story.
Tudo começa por uma história.
If you want your industry to succeed,
Se quiserem o sucesso da indústria,
you must have seasoned, experienced, educated writers.
tem de ter guionistas com experiência. Seasoned, educated?
Seasoned, educated, yes. Writers.
Sim, pronto. Guionistas com experiência, com formação.
And then Hollywood came out with a statement and said,
Então, Hollywood fez uma declaração.
and Hollywood said, actors don't control Hollywood.
Os atores não controlam Hollywood.
Producers don't control
Os
Hollywood.
produtores não controlam Hollywood.
Damn it, right? Directors don't control Hollywood.
Os realizadores não controlam Hollywood.
And they realized that Hollywood was controlled by writers.
E perceberam-se que os guionistas é que controlam Hollywood.
The power of the pen.
O poder da caneta.
It goes back into the power of the story.
Portanto, o poder da história.
So for any writer, director, producer, actor in this business,
Portanto, qualquer ator, produtor, realizador, guionista nesta indústria,
will get some education.
estudem.
Cedric has been acting for about 30 years.
O Cedric já é ator há 30 anos.
You know what he said to me 2 days ago?
E sabem o que é que ele me disse há 2 dias?
He said, Jamie, I'm going to film school.
Ele disse que ia voltar a estudar na escola de cinema.
He said, I'm going to film school. Now, this young man has had success as an actor.
Este jovem já teve sucesso como ator,
He's made some money.
já fez algum dinheiro,
He signs autographs and all that stuff.
dá autógrafos.
But he can stop and say, I'm done.
Ele poderia parar e dizer que já não quero mais.
He produces, he directs, he acts. He
Ele
can,
produz, ele realiza, é ator, poderia dar-se por satisfeito.
but with all of that experience, he said, I'm going to film school.
Mas com toda essa experiência, o que ele decidiu foi ir para a escola de cinema.
So the moral of that story is,
A moral da história é
you never stop learning.
nunca paramos de aprender. Nunca deixamos de aprender.
Never stop learning. Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Perguntas.
Perguntas.
Sim,
Good evening. Consegue ver?
sei que como consultor da indústria de cinema, teve experiência no lançamento dos primeiros passos da indústria de cinema na Nigéria.
I know as a film industry consultant, you have had como é que é? Desculpa. Teve o quê? Nos primeiros passos?
Sim, nos primeiros passos.
Oh, you are at the basis of the first steps in film industry in Nigeria. Okay.
Podia contar-me essa experiência e transmitir, se calhar, aqui alguma estratégia de como é que foi feito o lançamento também da indústria forte cá no nosso país.
Could you share your experience and maybe share some strategies so that we could do the same in Angola?
Gosto da pergunta.
Gosto da pergunta.
Correcto. My experience was not in Nigeria, it was in Ghana.
A experiência dele foi no Ghana, não na Nigéria.
I just worked with a lot of actors in Nigeria on Ghanaian films.
Basicamente o que ele faz é, ele trabalha com atores na Nigéria, mas a experiência foi no Ghana.
I want to be clear. Can you ask your question again?
Pode fazer de novo a pergunta? Well,
Eu gostaria de saber, de acordo sobre essa experiência que teve no Ghana, não é? Ok. O que é que pode transmitir para nós?
I got it. Okay.
You understand Portuguese?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Okay. So in Ghana, they wanted to raise the level of production in film.
no Ghana eles queriam aumentar o nível de produção.
And
Films.
there's a family in Ghana called the Arawak family.
Há uma família no Ghana, que é a família Arawak.
Arawak.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very respected and they make really good films.
Fazem bons filmes e são bastante respeitados no Ghana.
And so they called me. They were shooting a film actually in the United States, and he called me and asked me to come down and just look at it.
Ok, então eles estavam a fazer um filme, a gravar um filme nos Estados Unidos e pediram a opinião dele.
And I'm always taking critical notes. I think Nicola would agree with that.
Eu estou sempre a tomar notas, a fazer críticas.
And that was that. So I get a call later and they said, would I come to Ghana to speak? Because they created what's called NAFCA. NAFCA is the National African Film So-and-so in Ghana.
Então, depois dessa experiência nos Estados Unidos, ligaram para ele e pediram que fosse ao Ghana participar no NAFCA.
And so, you know, I made 4 films with them.
Ok, fizeram 4 filmes juntos.
And so they asked me, will I speak, will I address the film community in Ghana?
Ok, e pediram que ele fizesse um discurso, que fosse palestrante para a comunidade cinematográfica do Ghana.
And so the actors would have a lot of questions.
Os atores tinham muitas perguntas.
And I was very critical about films coming out of Ghana.
E eu era muito crítico em relação aos filmes no Ghana.
And I consider myself a pretty good teacher.
Eu considero-me um professor bastante bom.
So you can't be a good teacher if you're not willing to be honest.
E não se pode ser um bom professor se não se quiser ser honesto.
Cedric always said, it's not personal, it's business.
Citando o Cedric, não é nada pessoal, são negócios.
And okay, so I sat with the actors and actresses.
Sentei-me com eles, com os atores.
And I told them that they're pretty good, but there's a lot of work to be done. To be done.
E eu sentei-me com eles e eu disse, vocês são muito bons, mas há muito trabalho a ser feito.
One particular actress who's pretty known in Ghana.
Uma atriz em particular, que é bastante conhecida no Ghana.
She asked if she can audition for me because she's coming to the United States.
Perguntou se podia fazer uma audição com ele, porque ela estava aí para os Estados Unidos.
And I asked her to do a 2-minute monologue.
E ele pediu-lhe que fizesse um monólogo de 2 minutos.
And when she did it, I told her she did a horrible job.
E quando ela fez o monólogo, ele disse que ela tinha feito um trabalho terrível.
And she wound up cursing me out.
Ok, e ela ofendeu, pronto, basicamente.
But then something happened.
Mas depois, algo aconteceu.
She realized that it was constructive criticism that I was giving her.
E depois ela percebeu que era uma crítica construtiva.
And she called me back and she apologized.
Ok, e ligou e pediu desculpas.
Because she wanted to, first of all, I should say I was an acting coach. She wanted to be a student. And that's when I said no.
Ah, ok. Ela queria ser uma estudante, queria ser estudante dele, porque ele era um coach de representação.
Sim. So she called me back a week later and she apologized.
Então ela ligou.
To the bank and then check your tire. The bank.
Ok. It's done. Então ela ligou, pediu desculpas.
Desculpa? Okay.
She apologized.
She apologized and we had a nice conversation and now she's a big star in Ghana.
Ok, pronto, conversaram e neste momento ela é uma grande estrela no Ghana.
So the moral of that story is
A moral dessa história:
put your damn ego down.
Baixa o ego, baixa a bolinha.
Work on your craft.
Trabalha na tua arte.
So the beautiful thing about Angola is this.
O belo de Angola é que
that short film that I saw the other day,
a curta que vimos no outro dia,
one of the best short films I've seen coming out of Africa.
Uma das melhores curtas que ele já viu em África.
The script was tight, the acting was tight, the cinematography was tight,
O guião, a fotografia, o som, os atores, tudo.
So, if that is the beginning of Angola,
então, se isso é o início de Angola,
in cinema,
no que toca à indústria do cinema,
always say, the largest nation in the world is the imagination.
Eu digo sempre que a maior nação do mundo é a imaginação.
Dream.
Sonho.
Dream big things in Angola.
Sonhem alto.
Do not try to be Hollywood.
Não tentem ser Hollywood.
Just be yourself.
Sejam vocês mesmos.
And if you be yourself,
se forem vocês mesmos,
Hollywood would come to you.
Hollywood vem até vocês. Acho que é essa a estratégia.
Drop the mic.
Perguntas.
Last question. Last question.
Last question. I'm just getting started. I got to go back to Eduardo's and get some of that food. I had pizza at Eduardo. Let me tell you something. I ate at Eduardo's and it was the best food I've ever had.
Tá a falar. Eduardo's? Who's that?
Eduardo.
Onde é que almoçaram? Ok, pronto. Então ele está a dizer que foi das melhores coisas que ele já comeu. Está encantado. Pronto.
Okay, I'm ready. You say question?
Ok, pode ser. Could you lend him the mic, please?
Question, she translates. Okay.
Tem uma pergunta, desculpa, Leslie. Desculpa.
Lúcia, podes avançar.
Não, tem uma pergunta aqui no chat, é da Tina. Na verdade, era uma pergunta para a audiência. Como já perguntaste a Leslie, eu queria só dar aqui a oportunidade para a Tina. A Tina,
certo.
Do you want to speak? You want me to read your question? Are you available to speak?
No.
Tina.
The person she's asking.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, I haven't been able to be on video, but I've been listening to this wonderful day. All this conversation, for me, we're coming from, I'm executive director, International Brazilian Opera Company. We're New York based.
I did the interview with Tim, and a lot of our perspective is about this international relationship, right? We have, Tim talked a lot about heritage and knowing your legacy and speaking from your own voice. And that's been coming up again in this conversation. And in honor of the multicultural aspect of this dialogue, which is incredible, the fact that we're here between the US and Angola and having this conversation, I just wanted to know from the audience, who's creating the media in Angola and how does the media and cinema industry function there? And, you know, where's your motivation for creating your stories? Where does that heart come from in the drive? So if anyone in the room feels moved to speak, I'd love to hear from you.
Então, basicamente, ela está a perguntar aqui, na perspectiva angolana, quem é que cria as histórias cá e quem é que cria o mídia dentro desta perspectiva do discurso do time, do intercâmbio, quem é que cá em Angola cria as histórias, quem é que cria a mídia, quem é responsável por isso?
E também, de onde vem como se diz? De onde vem a motiva?
A motivação?
Yeah. A motivação.
E de onde vem a motivação?
É.
Alguém?
Queres falar? A mídia, né?
Leslie, eu acho que pode.
Ok. Em relação à mídia, nós estamos num longo caminho. Temos muitos anos de televisão, de rádio e alguns agora de social media.
Okay, so regarding media, we have come a long way now with TV, radio, and even social media.
Tudo começou com a televisão pública.
It all started with public television.
O maior canal e o canal que tem um sinal aberto.
It's the biggest network, open network here.
Que durante muitos anos foi monopólio. Nós só tínhamos um canal.
And yeah, for several years it was a monopoly because we only had one channel.
Que depois ele próprio se multiplicou e criou um outro canal, que era um subcanal, como se fosse um subcanal deste.
So that same channel has multiplied and created another channel, like a sub-channel. So it's, for example, you know, Sky 1, Sky 2, you know, yeah.
E depois, há uns 15 anos, mais ou menos para cá, não sei se estou tão certa disso.
And maybe 15 years ago, yeah.
Nós começamos a entrar para a televisão privada.
We started shifting to private television.
Porque durante muitos anos havia uma ligação muito grande entre a política e os mass media.
Because for several years there was a big relation between mass media and politics here.
Agora nós temos mais de 10 canais no ar.
And now we have more than 10 channels.
A maior parte deles criados por empresários, alguns também políticos.
Most of them are owned by businessmen and also politicians.
E temos, a nível da rádio, por exemplo, já temos desde o início, já tínhamos a iniciativa privada.
And also in radio, well, ever since the get-go, we've had private initiatives for radio channels. Yeah.
Mas temos aqui portais muito fortes a nível do social media.
But here, regarding social media, we have really strong pages, strong networks.
Que geralmente fazem mais a indústria cor-de-rosa.
That, well, they are more, you know, sensationalist pages, you know, like.
Então, para responder essa pergunta, empresários, políticos, pessoas ligadas ao
businessmen, politician, well, people linked to the government.
Essa ligação está sempre estabelecida.
Yeah, it's an ongoing relation between the media and politics here in Angola.
Quem controla o cinema?
And now as to who controls the film industry.
Boa noite. Tem um botão, deixa. Conseguem ouvir-me? Está ativo?
Can you hear him? Okay.
Sim, obrigada.
Eu prometo que vou falar mais devagar agora.
Obrigada.
Para a tradução. nós já começamos a fazer coisas bonitas.
Okay, so when it comes to the film industry, I've already started making beautiful things.
Temos essa plataforma de streaming que é a Telas.
Okay, we have our own streaming platform, just like Netflix. It's Telas.
Começamos a fazer cada vez mais intercâmbio, buscando os profissionais das áreas de fora que nos trazem conhecimento, ou nós vamos à busca de conhecimento fora com a formação.
We're doing more and more exchanges with foreign professionals.
Sim, temos estudado cinema e já começamos a produzir conteúdo com qualidade, tal como viu Jamie Brown no outro dia.
Okay, and so as Jamie and Cedric have had the opportunity to see, we have already started producing great content. So
eu iria adicionar aqui um comentário muito pessoal e se calhar de forma muito rápida partilhar esta experiência minha.
Okay, so he's going to share a personal experience of his.
Muito cedo apaixonei-me pelo cinema e televisão. Muito por influência de uma estação muito conhecida brasileira, Globo.
Okay, so very early on in his life, he fell in love with TV, much under the influence of a Brazilian channel, station, Globo, TV Globo, né?
Então,
TV Globo.
Como em Angola ainda produzíamos nesta altura pouco, né? Produzíamos de 2 em 2 anos, 3 em 3 anos, era muito rara a nossa produção, então eu quis ir para o Brasil para ser ator no Brasil, na Globo.
Okay, so since production at that time was still very scarce here in Angola, he decided to go to Brazil. He wanted to go to Brazil and to be a producer there at TV Globo.
Então eu via os debates raciais no Brasil, que o espaço que o afrodescendente não tinha, então eu disse, eu quero ir para Hollywood, que me pareceu ser um mercado mais aberto para a diversidade.
Okay, so since his first-hand experience in Brazil regarding the Black community, he could see that they still didn't have many opportunities. He decided, okay, I'm going to Hollywood, because to him, there, Black people had more opportunities. So,
mas quando não fui para Hollywood,
but since he didn't go to Hollywood,
comecei a fazer televisão cá,
and started making TV here in Angola,
começou a aumentar.
Okay, and the rhythm started increasing.
Eu perguntei-me, por que que nós precisamos de Hollywood?
He asked himself, why do we need Hollywood?
Nós temos um continente vasto.
We have a big continent.
Nós temos números que podem se traduzir em consumidores.
We have numbers which can be translated into consumers.
Nós temos recursos.
We have resources.
Dinheiro.
We have money.
Nós temos capacidade humana.
We have human resources, abilities, skills.
E se formos nós capazes, tal como Nigéria faz, tal como Ghana faz, tal como Índia com Bollywood, tal como a China com seu mercado.
What if we can also make it like Nigeria, like Ghana, like India?
Yes. Por que é que nós não criamos as nossas histórias, os nossos produtos, e nós somos os consumidores destes produtos a nível do continente africano?
Why don't we create our own stories and consume our own stories at the continent level?
Porque se nós tivermos interesse na nossa história, em a contarmos tal como ela aconteceu, porque nós temos dinheiro para produzir esses conteúdos, existe recurso aqui.
Because if we have interest in telling our own stories, because it's not a problem, it's not lack of money, because we do have money.
Então, se nós tivermos esse conteúdo, nós podemos ser os consumidores, e se a América ou Hollywood não estiver interessada, nós não precisamos, porque nós somos os consumidores disso.
Okay, so if we produce our own products and we consume our own products, we will not need Hollywood and elsewhere anymore to consume that, because we are already our own consumers of our own products.
É esta experiência que eu tenho tido.
And that's the experience I've had. I think Cedric wants to add something.
E essa experiência é de há 10 anos eu tenho estado a trabalhar em televisão e cinema.
I've been working in TV and movies for 10 years.
E eu cada vez mais me dou conta de que nós não precisamos de Hollywood no sentido real.
So this idea is growing stronger within him, that we don't need anyone else to produce our real content.
Nós consumimos o conteúdo do Hollywood, deixemos que eles consumam o nosso também.
If we consume Hollywood's contents, let them also consume
O
art.
que me leva agora a uma questão ao Jamie.
Which brings me to another, don't forget he won't stop. Which brings me to another question.
Lelis. Yes.
Lelis for president.
Yeah. Sim. E a minha questão é, Jamie, na sua experiência nos Estados Unidos, estas celebridades afrodescendentes,
In your experience, these Afro-descendant celebrities in Hollywood?
sim, em Hollywood, que granjeiam sucesso, dinheiro,
That thrive for success and money,
não terão a capacidade de estarem unidas, não terão a capacidade de realmente voltarem às suas origens, que é a África, estarem em contato com essas origens, porque pronto.
Do you think they have the ability to come together as a community and, for example, return to their roots here in Africa?
Vir buscar as histórias,
To come get to stories,
vir buscar o recurso humano
human resources,
para de facto contarem uma história legítima
to
africana.
tell a legitimate and truthful story.
Porque nós temos assistido que agora o mundo vira-se muito para a África também.
Because now the world has turned to Africa.
E querem contar histórias, como temos Wakanda e outros filmes.
And they want to tell our stories.
Suspeito que seja numa vertente comercial.
But there's always
então, com a intenção real de se contar a nossa história com dignidade.
So it's in a commercial perspective and not exactly in the interest of telling the story with dignity. So,
será que o sistema de Hollywood é tão forte que impede as nossas celebridades afrodescendentes que crescem de se unirem e trazerem real mudança?
Is Hollywood so strong, so powerful that our celebrities can't come here and tell our stories in a real way, in a way that would make a difference? Well.
E para finalizar, foram muitas perguntas. Ok. Eles têm as nossas celebridades afrodescendentes que crescem, que granjeiam poder, que granjeiam dinheiro. Não têm a capacidade de trazer mudança real e olharem e conseguirem estar à margem daquilo que é o sistema opressor, conforme nós estamos aqui a dizer, de Hollywood, branco de Hollywood.
Okay, can these Afro-descendant celebrities make a real change, make a real impact on our stories? Do you think that they can distance themselves from the system? Do you think they can go against the system and do something?
Temos o Tyler Perry Studios. Será que isto é real? Será que o Tyler Perry, será que isto já não é um passo?
Já nem eu me lembro.
Well, let's say that. So this one, I'm going to just tell you honestly. There's a rule in Hollywood.
Há uma regra em Hollywood.
Now the rule might have changed.
É possível que tenha mudado.
I'm not interested in Hollywood, but this is the rule. Any actor,
qualquer ator,
any actor that makes over $3 million a year
que faça mais de 3 milhões de dólares por ano
is owned by the studio. If you make less than 3 million, you can have your career. Go
Se
do what
fizeres
you
menos
do.
de 3 milhões, podes ter a tua
But
carreira.
3 million,
Mas
now
mais
you're
do que
changing
isso,
management, you're changing agency. We own you now.
és nosso. Portanto, se fizeres mais de 3 milhões,
Jamie Foxx is a big actor. Jamie Foxx had a manager by the name of Tapa Carew.
é o nome do agente do Jamie Foxx, que ele tinha.
Jamie Foxx was acting, doing a movie here, doing a movie there, making 1.2 million, making whatever.
Fazia 1.2 milhões.
When he did Ray,
Quando ele fez o filme do Ray,
that won him an Oscar.
Oscar.
The studio executive told him, fire your agent, fire your manager. We will give you an agent and we will give you a manager. His whole crew changed, even his attorneys. Why? Because my brother was on it.
Okay. Basicamente, quando ele fez o filme Ray, tornou-se aquela grande coisa, os próprios estúdios é que lhe disseram, despede os teus agentes, toda a sua entourage, e eles é que iriam escolher o agente, todas as pessoas à volta dele, basicamente. Passou a ser deles, a pertencer.
I tell you that, sir, because my brother was Jamie's security and he had to fire my brother as well.
Ele está a dizer isso porque o irmão dele fazia parte da segurança do Jamie e também teve de ser despedido.
So these actors that are making millions are owned by studios.
Portanto, os atores que fazem milhões, portanto, mais do que os tais 3 milhões, são sempre produto.
So they do what the studio tells them to do.
Eles fazem o que lhes mandam.
So to come to Angola to help you ain't gonna happen.
Isso não vai acontecer. Vir a Angola ajudar-vos, esqueçam
Now,
isso.
you will get actors 3 million or less that may say, hey, there's some opportunity in Angola. I may want to go to Angola.
Se fizerem menos do que isso, menos do que os tais 3 milhões, ok, pode existir algum ator que diga, ok, vou para Angola, fazer alguma coisa, fazer a diferença.
So someone like Cedric, Cedric is a well-known actor. He doesn't make millions of dollars per movies.
Por exemplo, Cedric.
So he has 30 years plus experience. He can help the film industry in Angola immensely.
O Cedric é um bom exemplo de quem pode ajudar imenso, porque ele tem mais de 30 anos de experiência e não faz esse montante, né, que o obriga a ser.
So, to answer your question, yes, there are actors that can come to Angola, but not movie stars. Never will happen.
Portanto. Okay, so he said his point wasn't for them to come here because he knows that our solution doesn't come from elsewhere. It comes from within. But okay, so he's saying that it's not for them to come here, it's to unite themselves over there.
Joke.
To overpower the system.
Joke.
Nunca vai acontecer.
No. So one major movie star that I spoke to come here to do this is what he said to me, and I quote.
Quando ele convidou uma grande estrela para vir cá, ele respondeu:
shit, I ain't got time. I got grandkids. I ain't finding no motherfucking Africa.
Não tenho tempo, tenho netos, não vou para a África. Pip, pip, pip.
Obrigado.
Temos mesmo que ir para o fim. Já passamos do horário que era suposto estarmos. Apesar de estarmos muito felizes por estar aqui e ouvir toda essa experiência.
Even though we're very happy to hear you.
Vamos passar o trailer, mas antes do trailer. Uma confusão. Ok. Antes do trailer, vamos fazer a ligação de tudo o que nós falamos. Eu acho que o trailer vai ser mesmo para fechar. Tudo o que nós falamos aqui tem a ver com a saúde mental. E no início, lembro-me, no discurso do time, já havia uma conexão.
So everything we've approached here today is directly related to mental health. Yeah.
Ok. Eu há pouco tempo falei com o Jamie sobre isso e eu disse que nós temos dois lados da moeda.
So there are two sides to each coin.
Tem o lado do cinema ser usado como instrumento para transmitir mensagens positivas para a saúde mental.
So there's one side which is using the film industry to transmit, to pass on a positive message regarding mental health.
E tem o lado do facto da nossa indústria ter começado já há muitos anos, quero clarificar isso aqui, não é uma coisa nova.
And there's the other side, it's our industry, that it's not as young as one may think. It has started a long time ago.
E ter deformado a nível da saúde mental vários profissionais, exatamente por quererem acreditar nesse sonho e por não terem essa união, esse caminho tão bem trilhado.
That in a way, as this industry in a way has misled these young minds, these artist minds, especially because of the point you're trying to make. The dream, they want to make it, go to Hollywood. So the industry in some way has kind of deformed those minds in that sense.
Então nós já tivemos pessoas que desistiram, nós já tivemos pessoas que se frustraram, nós já tivemos pessoas que sofrem ainda hoje de ansiedade e depressão porque estavam a trilhar esse caminho, já tiveram conversas como essas e já tentaram várias vezes conseguir continuar com essa indústria.
So a lot of we have here a lot of people who have given up, who have become frustrated, especially because they were in the pursuit of that dream and maybe it didn't work. So they suffer from stress, anxiety because of, you know.
Então queria deixar essa ligação para nós pensarmos também
So
dessa
she wanted to create that bridge.
E
to think about this.
Fátima está aqui, é psicóloga, ela sabe o quão isso pode ser importante, fazermos essa ligação e queria fechar com umas palavras pequenas tuas, curtas palavras, sobre essa ligação, tudo que nós falamos com a saúde mental, já que estamos na campanha Todos Juntos pela Saúde Mental.
Okay. So since Dr. Fátima here is a psychologist,
e quando a Fátima
she's going to draw some comments regarding mental health, and then we'll move on to the trailer.
So I think it's amazing to hear your thoughts and yours too, and everybody else's. And what you said about culture, for example, psychology is now also regarding culture as a very important mean to get to the person. Like you cannot do therapy to a person without knowing its roots and its ancestry and the culture. So bravo, it was amazing. Thank you so much. Agora pode.
Portanto, a psicologia está agora também a ter o contexto cultural em conta no que toca ao exercício, né? Da psicologia. Portanto, não é só a parte técnica, a parte científica. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking at you, but okay. A parte técnica, a parte científica, mas é também ter noção do contexto, da ancestralidade, do contexto cultural, no que toca das raízes, no que toca à abordagem para a saúde mental.
Então, obrigada, Fátima, um aplauso para Fátima Sampaio Fernandes. Obrigada por estares aqui conosco na OSAI, mais uma vez, e eu sei que tu fazes parte agora da OSAI, então, bem-vinda, welcome. Estou sempre a dizer isso. Bom, então vamos mostrar um bocado daquilo que temos feito. Nós já vimos de um caminho longo.
We've come a long way.
Temos continuado as pegadas dos nossos ancestrais e das gerações passadas.
So we're following our ancestors' footsteps.
It's a trailer. It's a trailer do Mananketu, the one that she recommended. Mananketu is the name.
Is the only child. In this case, the only daughter.
Ok, podemos?
The name of the movie. It's como?
Vamos ver então.
Mananketu. It means only daughter. In one of the national languages.
O som.
Se apresentaria de meus pais, da nossa tradição assim, que o homem deve bater a porta para a primeira autorização da sua esposa.
Esqueceste que somos filhos de Bacon? É que não podemos formar família mesmo se casar com uma mulher que não faz parte da nossa tribo. Pergunta no que eu sei.
Deixa disso, mano. Vão ficar com a Caleb com ou sem autorização do que você tem encontradas escondidas com essa jovem? Não! Wanda, o que sua família, meu pai?
Para nós, os Panhama, uma mulher não deve se envolver com um homem, muito menos perder a virgindade antes de fazer o filho. Olha no passado, eu quero ficar no passado. Como, por exemplo, essa coisa de darmos marido na nossa filha. Não está bom.
Uma cacalheta não tem que apresentar resistência, ela tem que aceitar e pronto. Nós somos pais dela e sabemos o que é bom. Você vai olhar tudo por causa da galera. Você tem cara de responsabilidade isso aqui.
Ó, meu filho ainda tem povoado.
Vou defender minha vida e que eu não vai deixar assim.
Se você se ama, tem que ser forte. Para ir longe, fazer vosso vida. Tem tudo e todos. Mas não quero.
Agora podemos conversar um bocado quando acabar este momento. Vamos estar lá fora se quiserem partilhar mais um bocado mais de conversa com os nossos convidados. Quero agradecer a todos que nos estiveram a ver, meu Deus,
Thank
no
you to everyone who has
YouTube
watched.
e também no Zoom. Obrigada pela vossa presença, obrigada a todos os participantes.
Thank you for your presence.
Vamos agradecer ao Tim Reid, ao Bigo Ferreira, a Fátima Sampaio Fernandes, Cedric Pendleton, Jamie Brown, a Tina Azevedo, a Lúcia Stanislas, ao Frank Shines, a mim também. A doutora Eduarda e a Sofiana Mosquita, presidente da Associação. Agora, se calhar, damos por encerrada, então, Sofiana, umas palavras para encerrarmos aqui a Semana Associação que termina com este evento.
Não, vamos puxar. Eu gostaria de agradecer a presença de todos. Foi um dia ótimo. Foi um workshop muito produtivo.
Thank you all for your presence. It's been a great day, very productive.
Especialmente para os jovens que são dessa área de cinema.
Especially for these young folks which which are from the filmmaking area, business, entertainment.
Sim, deu para perceber também um pouco mais sobre o ator, o nosso convidado, Cedric Pendleton. Falou um pouco mais sobre o trajeto, sobre o filme do YouTube e a experiência dele estar cá em Angola.
So we could have, we were able to have a bigger insight of your movie, your experience here in Angola, your life experience.
Sim, do Jamie também foi muito boa a presença, partilhar um pouco da experiência do Hollywood, dos artistas famosos que ele já produziu, como Michael Jackson, ou Oprah Winfrey, Eddie Murphy.
Okay, so in your case also we could have a bigger insight of your life experience, your work experience, your work in Hollywood with Hollywood actors and celebrities, so it was very good as well.
E também pôde tirar algumas dúvidas aos jovens que estão aqui que almejam ir para fora também e ter a experiência, se calhar um dia de Hollywood também.
And also for the young actors who are here, it was very good so that they could clear some doubts and maybe, who knows, move forward and in pursuing their dream for going to Hollywood, making it big in their careers.
Sim, então, de uma forma geral, gostaria de agradecer a todos mais uma vez.
So overall, she would like to thank everyone once again.
E assim encerramos a longa jornada da Semana 100, One Head for Mental Health, todos juntos pela saúde mental. Nós somos uma equipa gigantesca, estão aqui outros membros da equipa. Obrigada, Edson, obrigada, Lloyd, obrigada, Pedro, Bernardo, obrigada, Félix
So
Cambuta.
she's thanking all the members of OSAI.
A intenção principal é educar, interagir e gerar visibilidade. Eu acho que nós fizemos isso. Obrigadão, Lúcia!
Thank you, Lúcia. Oh, she's frozen.
Thank you. Dicla, eu vou só pedir, eu quero
www.osai.ao/OneHeart é o link para a doação. Lúcia.
eu ia dizer, o Pedro vai desligar a transmissão no YouTube, mas eu quero ficar um pouco aí. Eu sei que vocês vão comer aqui, mas eu não quero que me desconectem já.
Desliguem todos menos a Lúcia.